Chapter 4403. Not yet. The professor knew Lin Ya's trick. Lin Ya held Lu Yin and Huamin hostage just to force him to hand over the thing. However, since Lu Yin was the child of Lin Ya's clone, she didn't get any preferential treatment. Huamian was served with good food and drinks. Yin was about to lie in the cold coffin. This made the professor very sad. To him, his daughter was the same. Lu Yin didn't have a happy childhood to begin with. When she grew up, she had to live on the edge of a knife and avoid being hunted. But now, she had ended up like this. Thinking of this, the professor lowered his head, raised his hand, and gently wiped his tears. His daughter was so pitiful. Professor, what happened to my goddess Lu Yin? Looked at Lu Yin lying there motionless, as if she was asleep. She was even placed in a coffin. He felt extremely uncomfortable. She was just controlled by some drug and fell into a deep sleep. Was it the people who captured us? Yeah. Why'd they do this? What's their purpose? And was angry. He really wanted to raise his fist and kill the bad guy who put his goddess into a deep sleep. And the less you know about this, the better. Professor, I have something to do. I'll go out first. Then, can I not leave? I want to stay here with goddess Lu Yin. And was so greedy that he didn't want to leave. He had never had such a chance to protect Lu Yin. Now that Lu Yin was in a deep sleep, he just wanted to stay here quietly with her. If they don't chase you away, you can stay here. But remember, don't fight them head on. You have to be patient. We have to leave here alive. Okay, perhaps it was because it was as insignificant as an ant to Linya and was of no use to her. If it weren't for the professor's words, he might have been thrown into the black hole at the bottom of the sea. Not only did he survive, but he also got the chance to protect Lu Yin here. Although he didn't know when Lu Yin would wake up. But for him, everything was enough. After visiting Lu Yin, the professor went straight to the main hall to see Linya. Old Lu, I've done what I promised you. I've let that kid go and allowed you to see Xiaoyan. So what about your promise? Linya was really realistic. She didn't even bother with small talk and went straight to the point. Professor Lu didn't know who Linya was anymore, and he felt like a stranger. It even reduced the passion and obsession he had for his beloved wife that he had hidden in his heart for many years. I mean what I say. After that, Professor Lu slowly approached Linya. In the main hall, she always looked like a queen. She wore a crystal coffin on her head and a silk dress on her body. Xiaoya, do you still remember this ring? Professor Lu took off his diamond ring from his finger. Linya didn't say anything. Her eyes were as calm as a pool of stagnant water. Seeing that she didn't say anything, Professor Lu continued, I made this myself when we got married. I picked the diamonds myself, and I drew the design myself. Old Lu, that's not what I want to hear. What I want is not your diamond ring. Xiaoya, where's your ring? Professor Lu asked. Old Lu, don't play word games with me and stall for time. I told you, if you tease me and can't give me what I want if I get angry, the first person I kill will be Lu Yin. So, don't test my patience. Linya's face was dark, as if she couldn't wait any longer. Chapter 4404. The professor smiled when he heard Lin Ya's words. His smile was obviously filled with disappointment. Don't worry. Since I promised you, I will definitely do it. The professor skillfully removed the diamond from the diamond ring. Then he placed it on a marble table, picked up the stone statue beside it, and smashed it heavily. Linya was also confused by this. At this moment, the diamond in the professor's hand was gone. Instead, it was replaced by a very small red gem. Seeing that thing, Linya's eyes shone with a strange light. Hera, or? How is it? I didn't go back on my word, right? The professor smiled, but Linya couldn't wait to walk over and snatch the little red thing. Then, she held it in her hand like a treasure. Old Lu, if you had been so obedient from the start, I wouldn't have wasted so much time talking to you. What about the rest? Hand it over. You can even carry Hera or with you. Then, the red demon must be on you, right? Yeah, I have the red demon. The whole world knows that I have it. The heads of state, terrorist leaders, and even the FBI have been chasing me all these years for this. It's actually useless to me, but I know that for those politicians and ambitious people, it's a weapon to dominate the world. You don't like to beat around the bush, and I don't like to either. Let everyone go, everyone you captured, and I'll give it to you. Old Lou, how can I believe you? If I release them, what if you still don't want to give it to me? Since you're so capable, why don't you catch them again? Professor Lou smiled. Linya glanced at him, her gaze indescribable. In the end, the two of them looked at each other for 5 seconds. Messiah, Master, take the professor down to rest first. I still have something to do. We'll talk later. Yes, Master. Messiah walked gently to the professor's side. Professor Lou, please go back. Professor Lou didn't say anything and obediently followed Messiah out. Obviously, the appearance of the Hera made Linya very excited and satisfied. Linya brought the Hera through layers of undersea tunnels and finally stood on top of a tall crystal tower. Through the crystal tower, she vaguely saw a human face floating in the air. It wasn't very clear. How is it? The old voice sounded. It was a man's voice. Sir, he handed this over today. Linya held the tiny red with both hands. Stone of Hera? That person recognized it at a glance. That's right. The Hera, is the remaining element when Old Man Lou created the red demon. However, this is the most important element, and it's also an element that can't be regenerated on Earth. That's why it's so precious. Since he's willing to hand it over, this is enough to express his sincerity. I believe the day of obtaining the red demon won't be far. Well done. The man seemed to be very satisfied, and there was a hint of joy in his voice. Sir, don't worry. Once I get the red demon, in order to hide this secret, I'll destroy everyone here. I won't leave anyone alive, including Qin Shu, who's about to arrive. Weeds must be uprooted to prevent them from growing again. Qin Shu and Huamin have 2 children. Why don't you bring them in as well? My lord, it's not that I don't want to do it. It's just that there's something strange about those 2 children. Oh. The man seemed a little confused and doubted Linya's words. Chapter 4405. Sir, you have seen my abilities. I naturally won't hold back when I'm working for you. I tried twice with those 2 brats and failed. Then why? The man asked unhappily. This, I don't understand either. I need to investigate further. Forget it. These aren't the most important things. The most important thing now is to get the red demon. We don't have much time left. I understand. Sir, don't worry. I'm confident that Old Man Lou will hand over the red demon for his daughter. Okay. In the end, Linya respectfully handed over the Hera with both hands and left carefully. At this moment, Qin Shu was driving to his mother-in-law's house. The sky in the north was completely bright. It was already 6 in the morning. Qin Shu, on the other hand, didn't feel sleepy at all. He drove his black Bentley Continental quickly on the road with few people. After knocking for a long time, Xiaoling opened the door. Brother Qin Shu, is Granny awake? Yes, she's awake. Come in. Xiaoling opened the door and helped Qin Shu get his slippers. Then, she mumbled sleepily, Why are you here so early today? I thought of something important to ask Granny. Oh, okay. Go in then. Granny is eating breakfast. When Qin Shu entered Granny's room, the old lady was eating. There was only a simple bowl of rice paste. Little Qin, you're here? Granny, my friend Suyu. Something might have happened to him. He went to the location we found. But after he got there, he mysteriously disappeared. I called him, but I couldn't contact him. I suspect that something happened to him. He's a good friend of mine and my wife. He went there to help me. I can't let him be in danger. Don't be anxious. Sit down and tell me slowly. The old lady calmly drank the rest of the rice paste. Then, she looked up and listened to Qin Shu seriously. Qin Shu meant that Suyu had disappeared after going there. He was very anxious. He wanted to save him immediately. Let me help you calculate whether that young man is alive or dead, right? All right. After knowing that his mother-in-law had extraordinary abilities, Qin Shu treated her as his last life-saving straw and listened to her every word. Then, the granny took out 6 worn-out Qing dynasty copper coins. Then, he placed it in a jar, muttered something, and shook it for a long time. Only then did he arrange the copper coins in a row. After taking a look, Granny slowly said, "Your friend is indeed in some trouble." After hearing this, Qin Chu's heart tightened. If something happened to Su Yu because he helped him, how was he going to deal with the Su family? At this moment, Qin Chu felt extremely guilty. But don't worry. Although he's in trouble, his life isn't in danger. He's fine now, but he's trapped. It must be those people. Qin Chu was almost certain that the person who had captured Su Yu was the same as the person who had captured Huamin. Yeah, that's what I think too. Granny, I can't wait any longer. Give me a date. I have to rush over to save him. I can't wait any longer. Okay, I'll calculate the nearest auspicious day. Wait for me. After saying that, Granny took out an old perpetual calendar and began to flip through it. Qin Chu stood on the side, burning with anxiety. Little Qin, 11:30 tonight is a good time. You can leave now. Okay. Qin Chu was a little excited. When he heard that he could leave tonight, he was ecstatic. Chapter 4406. After leaving his mother-in-law's house, Qin Chu didn't go to the company. At this moment, he was no longer in the mood to go to the company. He didn't want to care about anything or ask anything. He just wanted to save his beloved wife, including Su Yu, who had just been arrested. Qin Chu then bought some fruits and vegetables and went to see the last person he wanted to see. Sky Blessing Court Qin Chu's car slowly stopped in front of the double-story bungalow. Ever since the incident with Jingda, Qin Chu hadn't been here for a long time. Jixin took care of Bella, and only Yang Meiyerong was left in the house. Qin Chu also hired a nanny to take care of her daily life. "Mr. Qin, you're here?" The nanny was very enthusiastic when she saw Qin Chu. "Where's my mother?" "Madam is upstairs." "I'll call her." "Madam, Mr. Qin is here." After the nanny called out, she saw Yang Meiyerong walking down the stairs. She was wearing a coffee-colored suede loungewear, and her hair was a little gray. Her face was a little haggard, and compared to before, her mental state was extremely poor. Indeed, too many things had happened recently. Bella was in a coma, Huamin had a miscarriage, and Jingda was missing. Either one of them was enough to be a fatal blow to her. Yang Meiyerong wasn't feeling well and stayed in the hospital for a while. Seeing that her son was tired and couldn't take care of himself, she insisted on being discharged from the hospital and going home to recuperate. Qin Chu hired the best nanny to take care of her. Although the nanny took good care of her, the old woman had been anxious and angry, so she wasn't in a good state. "Chu, you're here." "Mom, how are you feeling?" Yang Meiyerong was slightly moved by Qin Chu's call of mom. Because of Jingda's death, she had always blamed Qin Chu and Huamin. She hated her daughter and Qin Chu. After the truth was revealed, Yang Meiyerong always felt sorry for Qin Chu. Fortunately, this child was open-minded and did not hold any grudges against her. She treated her well. Although they weren't as close as biological mothers, this was already the best relationship between mother-in-law and son-in-law that could be seen. "It's an old problem. It's nothing. Why didn't you go to work today? Is the company still busy?" "I'm not busy. There's nothing much to do in the company." "Chu, where's Mion? I haven't seen her in a while. I called her, but she didn't pick up. I asked Jixin, but he didn't know either. Are you guys hiding something from me?" Yang Meiyerong missed her daughter, so she could only tell Qin Chu. There seemed to be some complaints as well. After all, Huamin had never gone so long without visiting her, except for the time when he was kidnapped by Hua Xiqian. "Mom, Jixin probably forgot to tell you that Mion took Pudding and Little Bean on a trip." Where did you go?" "They went to the United States to visit my second uncle. Then they went to a few countries with the kids. The two kids are on winter vacation and are making a fuss at home. They keep saying that they want to go out and play, but I don't have time to accompany them, so Mion went." "No wonder they haven't come for so long. When will they be back?" "Soon. It's almost the new year, so they'll be back before the new year. This year, we're going to celebrate the new year with you." Okay. Let's celebrate together." Hearing Qin Chu's words, Yang Meirong's face was obviously much happier. "Mom, here's a card for you. There's some pocket money in it. Then I asked my foundation to give you 20,000 yuan a month for living expenses. Keep the money in case you need it in the future." Chapter 4407. Unexpectedly, Yang Meirong shook her head. Chu, don't give me any more money. I already have a lot of money. Mian and Jixin often give it to me. Yang Meirong refused to accept it. She wasn't a money-minded person. Mom, it's not a lot. Take it. It's just a little token of my appreciation. I've been busy recently and haven't been able to visit you. You must take care of yourself. After Qin Shu's repeated persuasion, Yang Meirong finally accepted the money. Then, the two of them chatted casually. Qin Shu agreed to stay for lunch, which made Yang Meirong very happy. She instructed the nanny to make some celery and pork dumplings. Then, she planned to make a few dishes for Qin Shu. The two of them chatted and talked about Hua Min's childhood. Qin Shu was very interested in Hua Min's childhood. Because of Hua Mian's personality, she rarely talked about the past. Therefore, when Yang Meirong occasionally talked about Hua Min's naughty childhood, Qin Shu liked it very much. He kept sticking to his mother-in-law. Mom, tell me more about Mian when she was young. She must be very cute. Hearing Qin Shu's words, Yang Meirong became even more excited. She walked straight to the cabinet and took out an old photo album. Let me show you a photo of this girl when she was young. Yang Meirong flipped open a photo. It looked like Hua Min when she was 2 years old. There was a red dot on her forehead, and she was dressed very old-fashioned. However, her chubby face was very cute. When I gave birth to Mian, your Uncle Jing and I didn't have much money. Hua Zhenghai, that dead man, didn't care about us. So he didn't give Mian much milk powder. We couldn't afford it. We would buy her some cheap rice noodles. She was very obedient and ate everything. She ate a lot. At that time, I even complained to Uncle Jing that this child would grow up to be a big fatty and that it would be difficult for her to find a boyfriend. Yang Meirong laughed. Qin Shu also laughed. This was the first time he saw his wife when she was 2 years old. Yang Meirong flipped to the back again. This photo was taken when Mian was 6 years old, not long after Jixin was born. Your Uncle Jing and I were focused on taking care of him, so we didn't have much time to take care of her. Back then, she was in kindergarten, and when she came home from school, she would sometimes help me take care of Jixin. She was very obedient and never picky when it came to food. She never asked me for new clothes. Mian is such a good child. I'm proud to be her mother. At this point, Yang Meirong actually started sobbing. Qin Shu knew that his mother-in-law didn't know Hua Min's true identity. Hua Min didn't seem to want to tell her anything. It was during a conversation a long time ago. Hua Min made it clear that Yang Meirong was my mother. It wasn't easy for her to raise me. This white lie would remain like this for the rest of my life. Don't let her know. Don't let her be sad. I'll be your daughter forever. Mom, don't cry. It's okay. I'm old and sentimental. When I think about the hard days in the past, I feel like I've let my daughter down. Your Uncle Jing and I dote on Jixin more. Mian has been working hard for this family all these years. Chu! At this point, Yang Meirong held Qin Shu's hand. Mian is still young. It's okay for her to have a miscarriage. Just take care of her body and continue to have more children. Don't treat her badly. Do you understand? My daughter is really a good girl. Don't let her down. Mom, I won't. I love Mian very much. I won't let her down in this life, or the next life. Qin Shu promised his mother-in-law in an extremely gentle voice. He even made a promise in the next life, at this moment in the underwater palace. Suyu woke up in a daze and found himself trapped in a white crystal room. Chapter 4408. He felt an inexplicable pain in his head. Suyu covered his head and slowly got up. He still felt weak. He vaguely remembered being captured and locked up. Then he met Mian, talked to her, and even had a meal. And then an earthquake? That feeling was indeed like an earthquake. The earth was shaking, just like on the plane within. Suyu had a strange feeling. It was as if there was an answer that was about to come out, but he couldn't say it. He felt like there was something important that he didn't have the time to tell Mian. After Suyu got up, he looked at the white crystals in the room around him. His mind was in a mess, with Qin Shu's instructions, Hua Min's smile, and his mother's amulet. Yes, amulet. Suyu reached out to touch the amulet around his neck. Fortunately, it was still there. Looking at the scripture on it, Suyu subconsciously began to recite Namo, Hyloadna, Taloi, Namo, Polygy Emperor, Shubalea. Sure enough, the feeling of the earth shaking came again. If it was in the past, Suyu would definitely not dare to recite it. He would definitely stop, afraid that something would happen. But now that things had come to this, he was already locked up here, unable to do anything. He might as well see what the earth shaking behind the scripture was there for. Suyu closed his eyes and ignored the shock, collapse, and loud noise in front of him. He still stubbornly recited, Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Mahajalanigya. What followed was a loud noise. When Suyu opened his eyes, he felt the white crystal in front of him collapsing bit by bit. Then his vision turned black. He fainted again. No one knew how much time had passed. Suyu woke up in a daze and heard someone calling his name softly. Suyu, Suyu, wake up, wake up. Hearing the familiar voice, Suyu opened his eyes forcefully. Huamin. Upon seeing Huamin, he was very happy. However, Suyu felt that something was wrong. He looked around and was dumbfounded. Wasn't this the wooden hut that Zhao Qingya had imprisoned him in back in Yunnan? Why was he here? Suyu, are you thirsty? Come and drink some water. With his big belly, Huamin helped Suyu up with great difficulty. Suyu only felt that his body was covered in wounds. During the few days in Yunnan, he had indeed been tortured by that pervert Zhao Qingya. Suyu could still feel the faint injury on his back. Huamin held the cup and fed him a mouthful of water. Suyu looked up at Huamin. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Huamin smiled. At this moment, Huamin was also in a sorry state. In order to save Suyu, he came to Yunnan alone and was also tortured by Zhao Qingya. Mian, why are we here? Suyu reached out his hand in a daze. He wanted to touch Huamin's familiar face, but he stopped himself when he was inches away. All these years, the whole world knew that he liked Huamin. However, he had never taken advantage of Huamian or touched her as a good friend. Not even once. So, at this thought, Suyu resisted the urge to move. Huamin could tell what Suyu wanted to do and was a little embarrassed. Then he smiled. Are you stupid? You lost your memory after sleeping. Were we all captured by Zhao Qingya? Was I captured first, and then you came to save me? Suyu asked. Huamin nodded after hearing this. Suyu was confused again. What was going on? Why did he suddenly return to the wooden hut in Yunnan from the underwater palace after chanting the Great Compassion mantra? Could it be that time had flowed back? Did he transmigrate to the past? Chapter 4409. Suyu didn't know how to explain all this to Huamin. What's wrong, Suyu? You don't look right. Mian, if I said that I transmigrated, would you believe me? Transmigrated? Which year did you transmigrate from? The past or the future? The era of Emperor Qin or the era of Emperor Taizong? Huamin obviously didn't believe his transmigration and even joked. Mian, I don't know how to explain it to you, but Suyu didn't finish his sentence. The door was suddenly pushed open. What are you two doing? Are you acting out a sad couple? Huamin, you're good to any man, but why are you so cruel to Huasiqian? At this moment, Huasiqian stood at the door in a black leather jacket with a devilish smile on his face. Suyu and Huamin both knew that the person with such a smile wasn't Huasiqian, but Jack. It's none of your business who I'm good to. Huamin glanced at Jack's face coldly. TSK. How is it none of my business? That infatuated fool, Huasiqian, lives in my body. He's been tricked by you for the rest of his life. If it weren't for you, he could have had any woman he wanted. He had the whole family's wealth, but he fucking eloped with you to a deserted island. You almost killed him. Huamin, as a doctor, you keep saying that you're saving people, but you're forcing Huasiqian into a corner. You vicious woman. Jack cursed at Huamin. If it was before, Suyu wouldn't be able to stand it when others cursed at Huamin. He would definitely get up and beat them up. But now, Suyu was confused. Huasiqian, or rather, Jack, appeared in Yunnan at this time. Did that mean that Layla was here too? Then, the past was repeating itself. This meant that the current Jack was no longer Jack. In order to make Layla believe him, Huasiqian acted as Jack, and it was very realistic. Even he and Huamin had been fooled. He only found out the truth when he was on the run. When he was surrounded by Layla, and her subordinates at the gas station, Huomin's bomb was snatched away by Huosiqian. That was why it exploded into pieces in an instant. All of this was as vivid as yesterday. Suyu had never dreamed that he would see Huosiqian again. It was true, so at that moment, he almost couldn't react. He also forgot to stand up for Huomin and protect her. Yes, I'm that vicious. So what? Kill me if you can. Cut the crap. Huomin didn't seem to want to talk to this perverted Jack. Jack smiled. Do you think I don't want to? If it weren't for the fact that my master still has use for you, do you think I would keep a bastard like you? Huomin, God knows how much I want to cut you into pieces. You don't deserve Huosiqian's love. Huomian, on the other hand, looked calm and didn't say anything. He continued to take out white gauze and bandaged Suyu's wound for Zhao Qingya. Mian, he's not Jack, Suyu said in a low voice. What? Huomin thought he heard wrong, so he asked again in a low voice. Mian, he's not Jack. He's Huosiqian. He's pretending to be Jack to make Layla believe him. Suyu lowered his voice and repeated seriously. How do you know this? And who's Layla? Huomin widened his eyes and looked at Suyu in confusion. Huomin hadn't met Layla yet, so he didn't know what Suyu was talking about. Chapter 44:10. Suyu was about to say something when Zhao Qingya walked in. Why are you talking nonsense with them? Do you want to let go of your old flame, Huosiqian? Upon hearing this, Huosiqian turned around and grabbed Zhao Qingya's neck. He pressed her against a door. What are you doing? Don't do anything. This is my territory. Zhao Qingya was a little scared. She didn't know the truth and thought that this was Huosiqian's real body. She didn't know that Jack and Huosiqian shared a body. Bitch, be nice to me. And you and your little adulterer. You're just young master's dogs. Don't be so arrogant. If we're dogs, then you're the same. No one's nobler than the other. Zhao Qingya was still the same as before. She was terrifyingly stupid and angered Jack with just a few words. With Jack's temper, he didn't need to spoil her. He took out a dagger and pressed it against Zhao Qingya's neck. Then I'll kill you right now, bitch. Enough, Jack. A voice came from not far behind them. Suyu and Huomin looked over. It was a woman wearing a golden mask. From her voice, they could tell that she was a young woman. Layla. Suyu frowned slightly. He knew that Layla had appeared. Huomin didn't know who Layla was, but he could tell that this woman was someone who even Jack was afraid of. At the woman's order, Jack and Zhao Qingya immediately fell silent. What are you two doing? Are you having fun? Jack, Zhao Qingya, if you ruin my plans, I'll chop you all up and feed you to the wolves. Everyone knew that Layla wasn't joking, so they didn't dare to make a sound. Layla slowly walked into the wooden house. Then she slowly squatted down and looked at Huomin's face. She smiled. This face is really cute. You're the one who calls the shots here, right? If so, please let Suyu go. Mian. Suyu was stunned. He didn't expect this to happen. Because there was no such scene before, Layla had never had such a conversation with Huomin. At least, he hadn't seen it before. Could it be that things had changed after he transmigrated back? Suyu's heart was in a mess. He couldn't make sense of it. You're really good to Suyu. Layla smiled. However, her voice was very similar to Huomin's voice. Perhaps Huomin hadn't realized this because she didn't know that Layla was a woman who looked exactly like her. However, Suyu already felt his hair stand on end. All right, Huomin, since that's the case, why don't we play a game? You commit suicide, and I'll let Suyu go. When Layla finished her sentence, everyone fell silent. Only Zhao Qingya had a smug smile on her face. God knew how much she hated Huomin. No, Mian, don't listen to her. She's a person who doesn't keep her word. Anxious, Suyu grabbed Huomin's arm tightly. No one noticed that Huosiqian's expression changed slightly when he saw Suyu holding Huomin's hand. Huomin didn't answer Suyu. Instead, he looked at the masked woman seriously. Do you keep your word? Of course. It's worth it to use your and your child's life to repay Suyu's life. But you can also kill Suyu. That way, I'll let you go. With that, Layla threw a sharp dagger in front of Huomin. However, Suyu was one step ahead and snatched the dagger. Suyu, give it to me. Huomin looked at him with red eyes. Chapter 44:11. Meow, let me die. No, Suyu, don't do this. If you die, I won't be able to live either. I promised Annie Sue that I would save you. Don't do anything stupid. Does Chin Chu know that you two are kissing? Layla's tone was full of mockery. This was normal. Wasn't it Layla who replaced Huamin to seduce Chin Chu? Therefore, Suyu wasn't surprised by Layla's attitude. Suyu held the dagger and aimed it at his chest. Please, Suyu, please don't. Instantly, Huamin's tears, Zhao Qingya's smugness, Huasiqian, or rather, Jack's cold gaze, and Layla's expression of watching a good show. They were all intertwined. Suyu aimed the dagger at his chest bit by bit. He lowered his head. Suddenly, the amulet around his neck fell out again. He lowered his head and actually saw the lines of words on the amulet clearly. Suyu didn't know why, but when people faced death, they really didn't think about anything else. He only hoped that he would recite the last sentence of the Buddhist scripture and have a chance to reincarnate when he went to the netherworld. With this ridiculous hope, Suyu's mouth sounded the Buddhist scripture again. The familiar Great Compassion mantra sounded. Once again, the scene before his eyes blurred. Suyu could even clearly hear the sound of glass shattering. It was so loud that he felt like his ears were going deaf. The world spun again. When he opened his eyes again, Suyu felt that he must be dead. However, something strange happened again. He actually returned to his home, the master bedroom of his private villa. Suyu looked at the familiar ceiling and floor-to-ceiling windows. The familiar bed sheets, blanket, and Russian-patterned carpet. All of this was unbelievable. Wasn't he still in the wooden house in Yunnan? Could it be that he had recited the Buddhist scripture and transmigrated again? When Suyu thought of this, his heart started to beat faster. He immediately jumped up and walked around subconsciously, pulling open the curtains. This was indeed his home. The scenery outside was also the same as in the neighborhood, but who could tell him what was going on? Suyu sat on the bed in a daze for an hour. He thought about it, but he couldn't figure it out. However, there was one thing that caught his attention. The amulet and the Buddhist scripture. Suyu realized that every time he recited the Great Compassion mantra, the earth and mountains would shake. Previously, he had only to recite it once on the plane. He immediately stopped. After he opened his eyes, the time, the place, and the person, it was as if he transmigrated to infinity. Suyu had a terrifying thought. He felt that the amulet on him was a divine artifact, or a spirit artifact that could transmigrate, and the Great Compassion mantra was an incantation. He continuously to continue to transmigrate to the future. If he could really continue to transmigrate, then he would first transmigrate to the day he was captured by Zhao Qingya. Then, he would directly find someone to ambush and capture Zhao Qingya. Wouldn't that be the case? If he could continue to move forward, then could he also transmigrate to the time when he first met Huamin? No, at that time, Huamin and Chin Chu were already secretly married. If he wanted to meet Huamin earlier than Chin Chu, he had to transmigrate to the time when Chin Chu had not met Huamin yet. That should be when Huamin was in junior high school. At the thought of this, Suyu felt so nervous that he could not breathe. He had never thought that such a magical thing would happen to him. However, he now discovered a very serious problem. He touched his neck. The amulet his mother gave him was gone. It was not on his neck. Instantly, his heart turned cold again. Chapter 44:12. After Suyu realized that the amulet was gone, he was extremely frustrated. It wasn't easy for him to figure out this key item. Now, it had mysteriously disappeared. After being anxious for a long time, Suyu tried his best to calm himself down. He took a deep breath and chanted the Buddhist scriptures in a low voice. It used to be harder for him to memorize the scriptures of the Great Compassion mantra, but now he felt that he could recite it so smoothly. Every word was extremely clear. However, after reciting it for a long time, he still didn't discover the phenomenon of the ground shaking and the scene in front of him collapsing. He tried again, back and forth, 3 times. It still didn't work. Suyu was a little discouraged. What's going on? That's right. Why did it work before, but not now? Could it be because of the amulet? Was it fine as long as he found the amulet? and recited the Buddhist scriptures. But where was he going to find the amulet? In the middle of the night, Suyu couldn't sleep anymore. He took off his pajamas and changed into casual clothes, preparing to go out. Walking out of the room, Suyu knocked on Anne's door. "And wake up. Come out with me." There was no sound inside, and Master, "Wake up. Okay, I have an important discovery." Suyu's voice was already very loud. Moreover, Anne had been a light sleeper all these years. Not to mention such a loud voice. As long as there was a sound in the room, he would wake up. He was a very vigilant person. However, no matter how Suyu shouted, he didn't respond at all. "And?" Suyu tried to shout again, but there was still no response. Suyu's heart turned cold as he instinctively kicked the door open. He felt that something must have happened to him. Had he been kidnapped? However, when Suyu pushed open the door, he heaved a sigh of relief. Shaoan was still lying on the bed without moving, covered with a navy blue blanket. He was sleeping soundly. He could even see his chest rising and falling as he breathed. "Master, wake up. Why are you sleeping so soundly? Did you secretly drink alcohol?" Suyu knew and hadn't been in a good mood recently, especially after Lu Yan's accident. Shaoan tossed and turned in bed, unable to fall asleep. He thought that Shaoan was secretly drunk, which was why he didn't respond. However, even when Suyu was right in front of him, Shaoan still didn't wake up. "And don't scare me." Only then did Suyu realize that something was wrong. He squatted down and carefully sniffed Shaoan's body. There was no smell of alcohol. She placed her finger on the edge of his nose and could feel his steady breathing. However, why was he unwilling to wake up? No matter how he called out, there was no response. "And don't fucking scare me." Suyu was a little annoyed. As he shouted, he reached out to grab Shaoan's collar. Then, he pulled upward. Suyu was almost scared out of his wits by her sudden tug. He saw that Shaoan's originally rosy cheeks had suddenly turned pale. His originally calm breathing began to quicken as well. "What's going on?" Suyu shivered and let go in fright. Shaoan lay back down, showing no signs of waking up. But the miraculous thing was that the moment he lay down, his breathing became stable again. "Fuck. What's going on?" "Master, don't scare me. Are you possessed?" Suyu had never seen such a thing before. He was so scared that he didn't know what to do. After a long time, and didn't react. Suyu mustered up his courage and pulled up again. He wanted to see what was going on. This time, it was even more serious. Anne's mouth started bleeding. Suyu was completely frozen. Chapter 44:13. In the Underwater Palace. In a room where Lu Yan was locked up, she was still in a deep sleep, and had been guarding her as if he couldn't get enough of her. And wasn't stupid. He knew that if it weren't for Professor Lu's words, he might have been killed by these people long ago. After all, to these people, he was just a shrimp. His death was nothing to be regretted. He didn't have the weight of Suyu and Qin Chu. The guards would bring some food from time to time, and wasn't in the mood to eat, but he knew that he had to fill his stomach. What if Goddess Lu Yan woke up? What if she could escape from this predicament? He didn't even know where his master had gone. Anne's last memory was when he followed his master to the North Pole. He slept in the supply station, and when he woke up, everything had changed. And picked up a piece of bread and drank it with a glass of water. Suddenly, he felt a dull pain in his chest, and he felt a sweetness in his throat. Then the corner of his mouth started bleeding. What's wrong with me? And didn't remember being injured, but he was bleeding for no reason. Moreover, he felt as if his internal organs were being pulled out by someone. That feeling was an indescribable pain. Pooh, and spat out a mouthful of blood. He threw away the bread in his hand and knocked over the glass of water. He lay on the ground and began to convulse in the main hall of the underwater palace. Linya saw everything clearly. There were surveillance cameras in every room and every place. She could see who she wanted to see at a glance. "Where's Suyu?" Linya asked. Messiah knelt on the ground in a panic. "Why are you kneeling? Speak. I'm asking you. Where's Suyu?" Linya's voice was cold, and there was even a hint of blood in it. "Master, Suyu, he has already escaped." Messiah checked the room where everyone was locked up. She found that Suyu's room was empty. When she pulled out the surveillance footage, she found that Suyu had indeed disappeared. He was in that well-sealed room. He escaped. Do you know what you're talking about? How could anyone escape from my underwater palace? Linya couldn't believe it. My lord, please calm down. Suyu didn't escape from us. He had something on him. Furthermore, he was chanting some sort of incantation and disappeared in an instant. I suspect that Suyu has cracked our secret. Impossible. How is this possible? Linya was shocked. Didn't you see it earlier? Only when he breaks it and goes back can he see that scene. That's why he can move that follower of his. That kid just vomited blood. If he continues to move that follower, he will really die. The Messiah explained everything. Linya didn't want to admit it, but she had to. Such a meticulous plan, such a grand scheme, a perfect trap that even Professor Liu was involved in. However, Suyu, that little brat, managed to escape. Suyu, this fish that escaped the net. It's good that he escaped. He's not very useful anyway. After Qin Chu comes here, I'll get the red demon and get them all in one fell swoop. Linya clenched her fists tightly, not showing any mercy at all. Of course, when she said catch them all in one fell swoop, that included Huang Mian and the child in her belly. Chapter 44:14. Seeing that it had vomited blood, Suyu didn't dare to move anymore. He was so scared that he hurriedly put little one down on the spot. Then, he sat by the bed and observed carefully, just as Suyu expected, after he stopped touching it and gradually recovered. His face regained its color, and his breathing became stable again. What exactly is going on? Who can tell me exactly what happened? Suyu was dumbfounded, completely dumbfounded. He suddenly took out his phone and looked at the date on it. It was indeed more than a month before the Chinese New Year. It was the day Huomin's due date was approaching. It was also the day he was kidnapped by Zhao Qingya. But what happened after that? Did he transmigrate back? But why was it like this? There were too many mysteries that made Suyu puzzled. He didn't dare to touch him. He picked up his phone, put on his coat, and went downstairs. Then, he took out the black Lamborghini Sixth Element that he hadn't driven for a long time from the garage. He sped away from the private villa. The first person Suyu called was Qin Chu. Qin Chu had always been smart and quick-witted. Suyu wanted Qin Chu to help him analyze what was going on. However, Qin Chu didn't pick up the phone. Then, he called Huomin, but it was the same. Strange. Why isn't he picking up the phone? In Suyu's impression, Qin Chu rarely didn't pick up the phone. In order to give Huomin and the children a sense of security, Qin Chu didn't turn off the phone. The phone was almost never turned off or muted. It was always at its loudest 24 hours a day. It didn't make sense that he couldn't hear it after so long. Suyu didn't give up and called again. However, no one picked up. Suyu felt that something was wrong, but he still decided to go to South Hill Manor to take a look. If he had really transmigrated back, time would have reversed. Then everyone should be here. Qin Chu and Huomin were probably the same people they were before the accident. If Suyu had told everyone in advance what was going to happen later, then could it have prevented the series of tragedies that happened later? 15 minutes later, Suyu's car slowly entered South Hill Manor. The bodyguards of South Hill Manor recognized Suyu's car, so they didn't stop him. Suyu parked the car directly in front of the castle. Then, he opened the door and got out of the car. Uncle Li, the butler of South Hill Manor, walked towards him. Uncle Li, young Master Su, it's so late. Why are you here? Are Qin Chu and Mian home? Suyu asked anxiously. Yes, both young master and madam are here. Upon hearing Uncle Li's words, Suyu heaved a sigh of relief. At least they were all here. They were all fine. They were not in the hands of those bad guys. Then can I see them? I have something important to say. Suyu said to Uncle Li while panting. Yes, please come in with me. Uncle Li knew the relationship between Suyu and his wife and husband, so he warmly welcomed Suyu in. They're probably asleep. Let's knock on the door and wake them up. Uncle Li said carefully to Suyu as he led him upstairs. Suyu didn't say anything, but his heart was in a mess. He had a bad feeling, but he couldn't tell what it was. In short, he was very unhappy. They arrived at the door of the master bedroom on the second floor. Uncle Li bent down and gently knocked on the door. Young Master Su is here to visit. For a long time, there was no sound from inside. Young master, madam. Young Master Suyu is here to visit you. Uncle Lee deliberately raised his voice. But there was still no response. Before Uncle Lee could say anything, Suyu kicked the door open. Then he stared at the big bed in the master bedroom. Chapter 44:15. Huamin and Qin Chu were lying side by side on the bed. They were covered with an apricot yellow blanket made of natural silk. It seemed like the two of them had fallen asleep. However, Qin Chu and Huamin were both light sleepers. It didn't make sense that they wouldn't wake up even if he shouted. How strange. Young master and madam wake up easily every day. They'll wake up at the slightest sound. Why are they still sleeping today? Uncle Lee muttered in a low voice. Suyu walked a few steps to the bed and looked at Qin Chu and Huamin. There was nothing wrong with his face. It was just like how they usually slept. Suyu gritted his teeth and went to pull Qin Chu up, but the moment he moved, he saw Qin Chu's face turn from red to pale. Beads of sweat even appeared on his forehead. Suyu immediately understood what was going on and didn't dare to move anymore. He quickly put Qin Chu back to his original position. At this moment, Qin Chu was on a private plane heading straight to the North Pole. He had the location that his mother-in-law had given him. He wasn't in the mood to eat on the plane. He wasn't even in the mood to drink water. He was looking at the night sky outside the window, thinking about how to save people. When he got there, suddenly, he felt the world spinning in his head. That feeling was worse than car sickness. He wanted to vomit, but couldn't. In an instant, his forehead was covered in sweat. President Qin, are you okay? His subordinate saw Qin Chu's state and quickly handed him a piece of tissue. I'm fine, Qin Chu said, but when he spoke, his breathing became weak. What the hell is going on? Why did he suddenly feel like this, as if he was going to die, at South Hill Manor? After Suyu put Qin Chu back to his original position, he fell onto the carpet with a pale face. Young Master Su, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Should we call an ambulance? Uncle Lee was scared out of his wits when he saw Suyu like this. He thought that he had some old illness. Uncle Lee, when did they come back? Are you asking about the young master and madam? Yes. Suyu gasped and nodded. Young master and madam were the same as usual. After they came back, they had breakfast and madam coaxed the kids to sleep. They probably fell asleep at 11 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's only been 5 hours. How did this happen? Suyu couldn't understand. Since Uncle Lee said that they were fine when they came back, why was it like this now? Suyu didn't dare to touch Huamin again because he knew. Huamin's situation must be the same as that of Qin Chu and Shaoan. As long as he moved, something big would happen. He would either be sweating profusely or vomiting blood. He might even lose his life. However, according to Uncle Lee, Huamin was still coaxing the child. Children? Thinking of the word child, Suyu quickly got up from the ground. Uncle Lee, are Pudding and Little Bean at home? Yes, they're sleeping in their room. Uncle Lee was stunned. He didn't know why Suyu was so crazy tonight. Take me to see them. Hurry, hurry. Suyu couldn't wait to see the twins. He just wanted to confirm one thing. He wanted to see if the twins had the same problem as their parents and Shaoan. They looked like they were asleep, but they couldn't move. If they moved, their lives would be in danger. Suyu didn't have time to knock on the door and barged in, looking at the two children sleeping on the princess bed. His heart was about to clench. No, Pudding and Little Bean, nothing must happen to you. Nothing must happen to you. Suyu kept muttering. Then he strode to the bed. Chapter 44:16. Suyu had just reached the bed when he saw the two children on the bed. One of them got up with a whoosh. Little Bean's hair exploded as she looked at Suyu in a daze. Huh? Handsome Su. Why are you here? Huh? Am I dreaming? Little Bean, I'm so glad you're okay. Suyu couldn't help but reach out to hold Little Bean's face. At this moment, Pudding, who was in a light sleep, sat up. Handsome Su, what happened? It's so late. Why are you here? Pudding was still relatively calm. She was surprised to see Suyu appear at her house in the middle of the night with an anxious expression. There's no time to lose. Get up and come with me. Suyu felt that the two children were lucky that they weren't affected, but he couldn't let them stay at home any longer. After all, Qin Chu and Huamin were both affected. Although they didn't know what Suyu wanted to do, The two children trusted Suyu very much. Therefore, they hurriedly put on their clothes and left with Suyu. South Hill Manor's butler, Uncle Lee, was also stunned. Before leaving, Suyu said, "Uncle Lee, I'll take the children with me. If Mian and Chin Chu wake up, tell them not to worry. Tell them that I'm going to the Su family mansion. My mother misses the two children." Okay. Uncle Lee naturally didn't dare to ask about his masters, especially since he knew that the Su family and the Chin family were close. Lady Su treated the two children as if they were her own granddaughters. After Suyu picked up the twins, he hurriedly drove away from South Hill Manor. On the way, he was still in a daze, wondering what was going on. His mind was in a mess. On the way, he called Wei Liao, Jiang Xiaowei, Tang Chuan, and even Qin Ning, but to his surprise, no one picked up. Suyu anxiously hung up the phone. "Handsome Su, what happened? Why are you picking us up in the middle of the night?" Pudding was still curious and couldn't help but ask on the way. "Nothing, I just miss you guys. Don't think too much. How about we stay at Grandma Sue's place for the next few days? What about my daddy and mommy? Is it really okay to not tell them?" Little Bean was worried that her mommy would blame them when she woke up. Ever since she snuck out of the United States and was severely reprimanded by her mother, when Mian had been in the United States, Little Bean didn't dare to run around without telling mommy. Therefore, a shadow was left in his heart. "It's okay. I'll talk to your mommy and daddy. I might have to go on a business trip with them soon. There's no one at home to take care of you, so you two can stay at Grandma Sue's house, okay?" Suyu made up a random excuse. "I can, but can I not go to school?" Little Bean tried to take advantage of a loophole. "All right, you don't have to go to school anymore." Suyu's answer was vague, but Little Bean was extremely beautiful. Pudding, on the other hand, looked calm and seemed to be thinking about the matter. In less than half an hour, Suyu brought the two children to the Su family's old mansion. The Su family's old mansion's defenses were very strong. Because of Lord Su's official position, there had always been 3 layers of defense. There were so many bodyguards around. It was precisely because of this that Huamin had stayed at the Su family's house during her pregnancy to avoid Hua Xiqian's harassment. Of course, Lady Su had a different reaction to their sudden arrival. Before entering, Suyu was worried that his mother would be affected as well. However, when he saw her coming downstairs in her pajamas, he dismissed this thought. "You, it's so late. Why are you here? Aya, why are the 2 babies here too?" Lady Su obviously didn't know anything about this. Chapter 44:17. Grandma, Su doesn't know that we're here. Pudding raised her head and looked at Suyu warily. "It's an emergency, so I didn't have the time to tell her. But it's fine, you guys can stay here in peace. If you need anything, tell Grandma Su. Don't stand on ceremony." Suyu patted Pudding's head, trying to get away with it. Although Pudding was already suspicious, she believed that Suyu wouldn't do this for no reason. He must have something important to do. So she didn't continue to question him. "Mom, there's an emergency. I'll leave the children with you for now. No matter who it is, no one is allowed to see them except me. Understand?" After saying this, he added worriedly in Lady Su's ear, "Even if Qin Shu and Huamian come, don't let the children go. You can't let them go even if you beat them to death." "You, what's wrong?" Lady Su was confused. She thought that her son loved Huamin deeply and wanted to snatch his children away. Otherwise, why couldn't he take the children away even if their parents came? It wasn't that Suyu didn't trust Qin, Chu, and Huamin. He was just being extra careful. He had seen Layla before, and she looked exactly like Huamin. He was afraid that the pervert would take the twins away. "Mom, don't ask anything else. I don't have time to explain. I'll tell you slowly later. Just remember what I said. I'm definitely doing this for the children's sake. After everything is over, I'll tell you properly. Okay, be careful." Although Suyu had a bad temper and was a little willful over the years, he had always been reliable. Therefore, Lady Su didn't doubt her son's motive. She guessed that he had something he couldn't say. Lady Su held the 2 children's hands and walked upstairs. Suddenly, the red string around her neck caught Suyu's attention. "Mom, what's this?" Suyu pointed at the thing on his mother's neck. "Are you crazy?" "The amulet. I asked for it for you, but you didn't want to wear it. It was in your room upstairs, but I've been having nightmares lately, so I took it out. What's wrong? Before Lady Sue could finish her question, Suyu pounced on her. He pulled out the amulet around his mother's neck. It was actually the one he had been unable to find, the one he had lost. The Great Compassion Mantron, it was still clearly visible. This, why is it in your hands? Didn't you give it to me? Suyu was confused. It's for you, but you said it's superstitious and refused to wear it. You've never worn it. I even begged your dad and grandpa to wear it. You're the only one who doesn't listen. Without waiting for Lady Sue to finish, Suyu tore off the amulet and held it tightly in his hand. What are you doing? Mom, lend it to me. All right, you guys go to sleep. I still have something to do. Suyu snatched the amulet and ran out of the door. Then, he left the Sue family's old mansion in a hurry. Sitting in the Lamborghini Sixth Element sports car, Suyu carried the amulet with him. Then, after taking a deep breath, he closed his eyes and began to chant the familiar incantation. He really wanted to know if he would transmigrate back this time. However, after chanting for a long time, he opened his eyes and was still in the car. The scene hadn't changed at all. What was going on? Suyu was confused again. He looked at his watch and saw that it was almost dawn. Suyu took out his phone and opened a WeChat group for rich people. He typed, "Brothers, I feel like I've been possessed recently. Does anyone have a reliable master to recommend me? I'll definitely thank you." Chapter 44:18. Logically speaking, no one would respond to Suyu's WeChat message in the group at this time. Who would still be awake at 5 o'clock in the morning? No one would wake up so early, right? However, Suyu's friends were all rich people who loved to play. They were basically the rich second-generation heirs of various families. Therefore, they often played late at night clubs, had supper, played games, or did some indescribable things with girls. There were also a few who especially liked to play mahjong and fight the landlord. They often booked presidential suites in five-star hotels and started playing cards. Therefore, Suyu's words immediately caused a lot of people to explode. Rich man A. Lord Su, why are you still awake so late? Rich man B. Lord Su, are you kidding? It's so strange. What happened? Did you run into a ghost? Rich man C. Since Lord Su asked, we will definitely help. I know a fortune teller. Can you do it? He's a blind old man. He's in his 60s and lives in a square meter in the eastern suburbs. There's a big poplar tree at the door. Have you been there before? Rich man A. Of course not. It's not a fortune teller. Didn't you hear Lord Su say that he ran into a ghost? You should find someone with high cultivation. Rich man D. I know a feng shui master from Hong Kong. He's quite strange. 2 months ago, he was introduced by my father's friend. He came to our ancestral grave. I wonder if he can do it? Of course, they all wanted to help Suyu. However, why did Suyu feel that none of them were reliable? At this time, someone sent him a WeChat message. Brother Suyu, did you run into something evil? Suyu looked at the person and almost forgot who it was. After all, the profile picture and WeChat name were too cartoonish. He clicked on his WeChat moments and looked at the photo. Only then did he recognize that it was a child who was somewhat related to him. He was also a super rich second-generation heir. He was not old, only 21 or 22 years old. He especially liked to play with cars. In the past, he often raced with Suyu and the others. His family was also very wealthy. He was the only son and was very spoiled by his father. However, it was said that half a year ago, he had contracted a serious illness. He had sought medical treatment from all over the country and even went overseas. In the end, Suyu didn't know how he was cured. Usually, he had very little contact with these children. Little Hung, you're still awake? Well, big brother Suyu, if you're looking for someone who can exorcise evil spirits, I know someone. Is it reliable? Suyu honestly did not believe the words of a child. These young, rich, second-generation heirs were actually very naive. They were often deceived by some charlatans. Big brother Suyu, to tell you the truth, have you heard that I was sick before? This time the child sent a voice message mysteriously. I heard a little about it. Suyu was still puzzled. What does your illness have to do with me looking for a master? Unexpectedly, The child continued with a voice message. Big brother Suyu, actually, I wasn't sick at all. I was drunk and bumped into a female ghost. I was haunted by it. My body had more yin than yang, so I fell sick. Really? Suyu felt that it was a little ridiculous and didn't believe it. Really? Why would I lie to you? If you don't believe me, you can ask my dad. My parents didn't know what was going on at first, so they took me to many hospitals. In the end, the doctors treated me as if I was mentally ill. Later, a relative of my dad's hometown in the countryside asked if it was an evil spirit and took me to the countryside. He found a crazy Taoist priest. Later, he wrote a talisman for me and drank a bowl of water. Then, I was fine. That magical? So he was surprised again. Chapter 44:19. MHM. So if you're like me and encounter something evil, if you trust me, I'll take you to the countryside to find that person. I think he might have a way. Seeing how serious Hung was, Suyu was tempted. After thinking for a moment, he replied on WeChat, "Okay, take me there. It's best if you leave now. I'm in a hurry." "Okay, come pick me up at my house now. Let's go now." Little Hung was also very happy and immediately agreed. On his way to pick up Hung, Suyu called his friends again. He wanted to discuss it with them, especially Old Wei, who was smart. Unfortunately, they still did not pick up. Suyu suddenly had a terrifying thought. Could it be that everyone had been tricked? Like on Qin and Mian? At the thought of this, Suyu shivered in fear. 5:20 a.m. The sanitation workers had already started to clear the snow on the road. The winter in the north was always so cold that it made people shiver. Even in the car, Suyu felt the extremely low temperature in the car. After picking up Hung, the two of them headed straight to the place Hung had mentioned. They didn't say much along the way. To be honest, Suyu was terrified by what this kid had said, so he didn't dare to talk about it. There were many legends about the supernatural in the north. Among them, the House Protector Immortal and the Shaman God were especially legendary. The older generation firmly believed in this. Many times, when children were sick, the hospital couldn't treat them, but these so-called charlatans could. Suyu didn't believe in these things at first because he was from the army. Therefore, he had always been an atheist. Therefore, he never believed in the safety talismans that his mother gave him. However, he had no choice but to believe all of this because such a thing had happened to him. Although he didn't know if this rural Taoist priest that Hung was talking about really knew some martial arts. However, at this moment, he could only try his best. That was because he had a vague feeling. If he couldn't solve this matter, then there might be a lot of trouble. Reality proved that Suyu's feeling was right. If it wasn't for Suyu this time, everyone's lives might be in danger. Of course, this was all in the future. After running for more than 3 hours on the highway and hundreds of miles, after getting off the highway, they walked for another 2 hours on a rural road before arriving at the mountain village that Hung mentioned, Jade Water Village. It was a mountain village that lived in seclusion deep in the mountains. The only way to the outside world was a seemingly ordinary narrow path. Suyu's Lamborghini's sixth element was indeed beyond recognition. But fortunately, they had managed to reach their destination. At the end of the village, there was a very old, thatched hut. "It's here, big brother Suyu." Hung pointed at the shabby house. At this time, the door of the house was pushed open, and a man in tattered clothes walked out. His hair was rough, and his clothes were tattered. Because ups. However, Suyu saw that he was a cripple. He walked up and down. "He's a cripple?" Suyu frowned slightly, as if he regretted coming to this place. He felt that it wasn't reliable. Don't underestimate him. It said that he broke his leg because he helped someone transcend the tribulation and revealed the heavenly secrets. Is he that godly? Suyu was skeptical. At that moment, Hung shouted from afar, "Master Wu." When a man heard this, he slowly raised his head. He saw Suyu's complicated gaze. "You guys can go back. I can't control his matters, nor do I have the ability to." The man only glanced at Suyu and coldly rejected the request. Chapter 44:20. Suyu was skeptical at first, but this person's words made Suyu feel that it was interesting. Of course, he wouldn't leave. Nothing had been resolved, so why should he leave? After going through so much trouble on the mountain road, he had suffered so much. If he left now, wouldn't he have come here for nothing? Therefore, this time, before Hung could say anything, Suyu walked over. Master Wu. Hello, I'm Suyu. I don't care who you are. I can't control your matters. The man's tone was especially cold, and he didn't even look at Suyu. Master Wu, please help my brother. This is my relative's brother. He's a very nice person. Seeing that his master was being unreasonable, Hung quickly stepped forward to smooth things over. Even if he's your father, I can't help him. The man was still determined. Master Wu, I know you're not an ordinary person. You're not one of those swindlers. Otherwise, we wouldn't have driven so long to find you. Let me put it this way, as long as you can help me, I'm willing to spend any amount of money. Suyu had always been a godly tycoon and believed that there was nothing money could solve. That was why he dared to make such a boast. Do you think you're so great just because you're rich? Let me tell you, you're just lucky. Otherwise, all of you would have been wiped out. If you're dead, what do you need money for? You're really ignorant. Since you're back, just live your life peacefully. You're really lucky. Master Wu's words almost made Suyu kneel down in excitement. If he had doubted this person's strength before, but now, Suyu was about to give him a thumbs up. He didn't say anything to Hung along the way and didn't reveal what he had encountered. Or rather, no one knew about the strange things that had happened to him. But this dirty-looking man knew. If he wasn't a god, then what was he? Hearing this, Suyu grabbed the man's arm. Master Wu, I'm here this time to ask what's going on. Please help me. Don't you Taoists always talk about fate? There are so many experts in the world. It's fate that I'm able to come to your house. You can't just leave me in the lurch. To his surprise, the man frowned slightly. He glanced at Suyu and said impatiently, Didn't I tell you that you're fine now? You came back safe and sound. Why do you want me to save you? What about my friends? Upon hearing Suyu's words, the man's expression changed. It's good enough that you're able to come back. Don't worry about the others, they won't be able to come back. And it's about time. It won't be long, they'll all die. Hearing this, Suyu was even more dissatisfied. She got down on her knees in front of the man. Master Wu, I know you're an expert. Please forgive me for offending you just now. I'm sincerely here to ask for your help. I don't know what you need, but feel free to state any conditions. I'll definitely try my best to fulfill them. Please save my friends. I don't even know what happened to me. This in itself is a form of irony. You guys offended someone. You've been targeted for a long time, so you were lured into a trap. Suyu, this isn't a small matter. The other party is an expert, and I can't solve it. I can't beat him. It's not that I'm a coward, but I really don't have the ability to help you. Really? So why don't you ask someone else? Seeing that Suyu had knelt down, this person's attitude changed a little. Hearing this person's words, Suyu's heart sank again. Chapter 44:21. Seeing this, Hung couldn't stand it anymore. He had known Suyu for so many years, but he had never seen his proud brother so humble. Master Wu, please help my brother Suyu. He's really in trouble. Just treat it as doing good. Suyu lowered his head and gritted his teeth. He felt terrible. Suddenly, the amulet fell from his neck. This person reached out and caught it. His speed was so fast that it made people click their tongues. You've been to Prajna Temple. My mother asked for this. She's been friends with the abbot of Prajna Temple, Nun Cian, for many years. So that's how it is. Haha, what a coincidence. It seems like I have to take care of your matters today. The person called Master Wu chuckled. What are you? Suyu was confused. That person looked at the amulet, then skillfully tied a knot and put it around Suyu's neck. Nun Cian is my senior sister. Master Wu's words surprised Suyu. Logically speaking, Prajna Temple was in a different direction from this place. They were in different directions. This person actually knew Nun Cian, and they were from the same sect. It had to be fate. It was unknown when it started snowing outside, and the weather was gradually getting colder. Come in with me, you too. The man looked at the sky. After he finished speaking, he turned around and entered the shabby, thatched hut. Hung helped Suyu up and whispered into his ear, Brother Suyu, Master will want to help you. Although his words aren't nice, He's a good person. And Macham. Suyu nodded and didn't say anything. He bent down and followed Hung inside. Although the straw hut was shabby, the stove inside was very warm. After the man entered, he flipped over and sat cross-legged on the stove. He took out a cigarette from the iron box beside him and started smoking. The smell was choking. Master Wu, come, take mine. Suyu was a man of honor, so he took out a soft pack of Chunghwa from his pocket and handed it over. Master Wu glanced at Suyu, took the cigarette, and put it out. Hung, you go out first. Wait for him in the car. This person had miraculously sent Hung away. Suyu also felt that he really didn't want others to know about this kind of thing. If one didn't know, they would think that he was crazy. Okay, Brother Suyu, I'll wait for you in the car. All right. After Hung left, Suyu said impatiently, Master Wu. Without waiting for Suyu to finish, the man fiercely slapped Zhonghua. She glared at Suyu and asked, Tell me, how did you come back? Suyu was stunned. Don't play dumb. You can't hide it from me. You're the only one who came back. Tell me, how did you come back? Suyu thought about it carefully and felt that he should be talking about his sudden transmigration. Therefore, he recounted the whole story to her. At the end, he didn't forget to add, Master Wu, I've already transmigrated twice. I think it has something to do with this amulet and the Buddhist scriptures. Every time I wear the amulet and chant the Great Compassion mantra, I'll transmigrate. But for some reason, I've only transmigrated twice. Now, no matter how I chant it, I won't move. I want to know what's going on. Do you think you transmigrated? The man asked Suyu. I think time has reversed. I've returned to the past. What a stupid donkey, the man said. Suyu's face darkened. You didn't transmigrate at all. Don't think about it yourself. If it's not transmigration, then what's going on? You've been set up by someone, or rather, you've all been set up by someone, the man repeated. Set up? Suyu was even more confused. Chapter 44:22. When he heard that it wasn't transmigration, Suyu was confused again, because in his mind, he had transmigrated, and he clearly remembered that he had transmigrated twice. Every time, it was an amulet and a Buddhist scripture. Then, the scene before his eyes began to collapse. However, now that Master Wu said that it wasn't transmigration, it completely overturned his previous wild guess. So he was a little anxious. He moved closer to Master Wu and explained anxiously, Master Wu, can I see the future? Why do I feel like I'm seeing what's going to happen in the future? My friends are all captured, and I have to save them. Aren't your friends sleeping at home? Master Wu exhaled another puff of smoke. So he was confused again. That's right. When he woke up, he found in Qin Shu and Huamin sleeping on their beds. But no, Master Wu, they're not sleeping. They must have been hit by some evil trick, because when they were asleep, I couldn't wake them up, and as long as they moved their bodies, they would appear to be on the verge of death. What's going on? Suyu knew that he was speaking incoherently, but he believed that Master Wu could understand him. Sure enough, after hearing Suyu's words, Master Wu fell silent. Instead, he lowered his head and finished the cigarette in his hand in a few puffs. He then threw the cigarette, but to the ground. Then he looked up at Suyu. Master Wu, do you need my birth characters to deduce? Suyu thought that these fortune tellers would basically ask you for your birth characters and birthplace before starting to read your fortune. Master Wu only smiled mysteriously. No need, I don't need those things. Let me put it this way. Suyu, you and your friends have been tricked a long time ago. What did you get hit by? Suyu froze. Do you know about nightmares? Yes, it's a type of nightmare. Then, you encounter something scary in your dream, but you can't wake up. Suyu briefly explained the meaning of incubus. Master Wu nodded. Something like that. But what does this have to do with the incubus? Suyu still couldn't make sense of it, so he asked anxiously. I'll explain it to you briefly. Someone made up a big dream to combine the dream and reality. In the end, he lured all of you into the dream. Your friends are all in that dream now, but you accidentally escaped. After Suyu heard this, his entire body was petrified. This was the most ridiculous thing he had ever heard of, Master Wu told him that everything he had experienced before was a dream. Even 10,000 alpacas would not be able to express this feeling. No, how could it be a dream? It's too real. Everything inside, the explosion, the dead, everything is still vivid in my mind. I still can't forget it. Suyu didn't want to admit Master Wu's words. He didn't believe that it was just a dream. Whether it was Layla, the dead Huasiqian, Qin Shu, who had mysteriously told him where to save Huamin, or the pregnant Huamin, how could all of this be just a dream? Didn't you hear what I just said? I mean, someone is deliberately luring you into the dream. It's a gradual process. It's a continuous combination of dream and reality. In the end, reality is abandoned and all of you are lured into the dream. Then how did I escape? Suyu was dumbfounded. Master Wu rolled his eyes at Suyu. What do you think? You stupid donkey brain. Think carefully. What did you encounter that made you start your so-called transmigration? At the mention of this, Suyu's eyes lit up. Then he subconsciously touched his amulet. It's an amulet, and I chanted the Great Compassion Mantra. Chapter 44-23. Master Wu glanced at Suyu and said calmly, "That's right. It's the amulet and the Great Compassion Mantra. You look as stupid as a donkey, but I didn't expect you to know how to chant the Great Compassion Mantra. I have to say that you're quite powerful. Perhaps the person who set the trap didn't expect anyone to escape." Master Wu, I still don't understand. You mean I used the amulet and the Great Compassion Mantra to escape from the dream, right? Suyu asked. Master Wu nodded. But why did I escape twice? The first time, I escaped from an underwater palace, but I returned to the time when I was kidnapped in Yunnan. Then, I suddenly returned to my home from Yunnan. How do you explain all of this? That's because you're already in the second level of the dream. No matter how powerful the amulet and Buddhist scriptures are, they can't send you back to reality in one go. If I'm not wrong, the underwater palace you mentioned just now should be a dream within a dream. The second level of the dream, and then you return to the first level of the dream. Then, I don't know what happened, but you accidentally escaped from the first level of the dream and came to the real world. Are you still not satisfied after coming back? You even used your amulet and Buddhist scriptures to try, but it was useless. Master Wu smiled mysteriously. Suyu immediately nodded excitedly. Yes, I thought I could still transmigrate, silly. This is the real world. You're already back, so how can you transmigrate? No, Master Wu, if it's really a dream like you said, then when I woke up, I realized that the amulet wasn't on me. I went back to the old residence and asked my mother for it. I don't know why, but it suddenly went to my mother. Suyu lowered his head and touched the amulet on his body. He couldn't explain why the amulet wasn't on him when he woke up. Then think carefully. When did your mother give you the amulet? I was about to go to the North Pole to save my friend. Before I left, I missed my mother and went to see her. She gave it to me. Have you ever thought about it? It was actually a dream. Your mother didn't give you any amulet at all. It was your own consciousness that forced it into your dream. So you couldn't say anything. After all, there was too much information for him to digest. Calm down first. I'll drink some water. Master Wu coughed twice and got off the ground to get a bowl of water from the stove. Then he took 2 big gulps. When he returned, so you seem to still be in a state of confusion. Have you thought it through? All right, Master Wu, even if I escape because of the amulet and the Great Compassion Mantra, what about my friends? Why aren't they awake yet? When will they wake up? So you didn't want to care about the dream right now. You just wanted to ensure that Huamin and Qinshu would wake up safely. Are you stupid? You were lucky enough to escape, and you still expect your friends to come out. You probably don't know how powerful the person who set this trap is. You young people nowadays are really young, like children. You don't know anything. Master Wu seemed to think that Suyu's words were childish and ignorant. Master Wu, I think this is a little too ridiculous. Incubi are usually alone in their dreams. How can we have a dream with so many friends and such a large group of people? Without waiting for Suyu to finish, Master Wu took out another cigarette and lit it himself. He sneered. That's why I said you're too young. Kid, Have you heard of hypnotists? Chapter 4424. Suyu is stunned again. Hypnotist? Are you talking about the kind of hypnotist who waves a pocket watch in front of you a few times and makes you fall asleep? Master Wu shook his head. It's not that simple. Young people like you only know how to smoke, drink, and spend money to pick up girls. Why don't you look at the useful and valuable information? 2 years ago, I saw on the internet that there was a high-level hypnotist in a research center overseas who used his own hypnotism to make people see their previous lives. It said that there's a person in America who even recalled his previous 9 lives. Fuck. That's so weird. Suyu was dumbfounded. This isn't science fiction or superstition. It's really high-tech. The hypnotists, are just scratching the surface. Those who hypnotize patients with psychological disorders can only be called psychologists, not professional hypnotists. Master Wu, you know how to surf the internet. Suyu was embarrassed. He looked at the man in shabby clothes in front of him. His hair was like a chicken's nest, and he looked like a country bumpkin. Therefore, when Master Wu said these words about surfing the internet and high-tech, Suyu was really shocked. Of course, us Taoists are also keeping up with the times. If we don't surf the internet, we'll definitely be eliminated. Occasionally, when I don't have enough to eat and am poor, I'll read people's fortunes in my own online shop and make a living. Suyu was speechless. You still have a time to talk nonsense with me? Do you want to know who set you up? Master Wu glared at Suyu. Yes, Master Wu. Please guide me. Suyu had a vague feeling that this guy was not an ordinary person, so his attitude became even more respectful. To put it simply, you guys met a high-level or even a super hypnotist who gave you guys a primer so that you guys gradually entered a dream and started hallucinating. Wait, Master Wu, what do you mean by a primer? What do you mean by hallucinating? So you wanted to figure out every detail. If Master Wu was a liar, he wouldn't be able to handle these sharp questions. The primer is a person who appears beside you. She has met with your friends in the dream. She will take the opportunity to put the primer on you bit by bit. To put it bluntly, it is a kind of hallucinogen that can make you enter the dream, and you won't be able to discover it. As for the hallucinations, you need to think carefully. When did something outrageous happen to you? From the moment the outrageous thing happened, you are basically already in a half-awake state. That's ridiculous. Let me think. I was kidnapped by Zhao Qingya? No. Oh, I remember now. It's my good friend. She has a father who died many years ago. He actually came back. After a checkup at the hospital, they found out that their genes are the same. It's too fucking ridiculous. Later, they said that it's a clone. Even more ridiculous. Master Wu's words made Suyu try his best to recall everything that had happened recently. Suddenly, it occurred to them that Jingda's appearance was the most ridiculous beginning, but everyone gradually believed it. Master Wu nodded. It's indeed ridiculous for a dead person to come back to life, but you guys believed it. Yeah, we all thought it was really a clone. After all, there's such technology now, Suyu said. It makes you gradually believe in ridiculous things, which is the power of the incubus. Because what happened next was more and more ridiculous, but you all accepted it completely. Master Wu's words made Suyu's hair stand on end again. Yeah, clones, blood-sucking Layla. These ridiculous things, Qin Shu, and Mian actually believed them. This was too fucking strange. Why did he feel like he had just woken up from a dream? Chapter 4425. Master Wu, now that you mention it, I understand a little. But you just said that we need a catalyst to enter the dream. We need someone to secretly drug us, right? So you grasped the key point. Yes, that's right. Without this step, we can't complete the rest of the series. But I don't have such a friend around me who would have the chance to drug us. My friends and I are all in the same circle. We don't trust others easily. It's impossible for someone to drug us without us noticing. So you wondered who could drug him and everyone else without anyone noticing. Master Wu took another puff of his cigarette. Then you'd better think carefully. Did you have any new friends in your life? Then, this person has a good relationship with everyone and can make you trust her, but later on, she left without anyone knowing. You should know that this kind of person who lures you into a dream will disappear after she completes her task. She won't overlap in the dream. I'm afraid that you'll be alerted and see through her. After Master Wu finished speaking, Suyu started to search his memories. A friend who had appeared recently, someone who everyone recognized, someone who was quite popular. Could it be Han Yueyao? At the thought of this name, Suyu felt goosebumps all over his body. It couldn't be. Big Yao Yao was such a nice person. How could it be? Then he thought about it. No, Master Wu said that she had appeared and left. Big Yao Yao had never left. Whether it was in the dream or in reality, she seemed to always be there. At this moment, another name flashed across his mind, exploding in his mind like a sudden clap of thunder. Zheng Ro. Yes, that's right. It was Zheng Ro. She had appeared for a period of time and made everyone like her. Then, she disappeared for no reason. When he was in Yunnan, he vaguely heard Hua Xiqian mention that Zheng Ro was kidnapped by Layla and the others and killed. Therefore, Suyu subconsciously thought that Zheng Ro was dead. However, if what Master Wu said made sense, and what happened in Yunnan was a dream, then what Hua Xiqian told him in the dream, that Zheng Ro was dead, shouldn't be true. Have you thought of someone? Yes, I thought of someone. If there's anything else you don't understand, you can continue asking. Master Wu smoked slowly. Master Wu, I'd like to ask if I saw someone I knew die in a dream. Did he really die, or did he return to reality like me after dying in the dream? So you wanted to confirm Hua Xiqian's final destination. Hua Xiqian died in the explosion in Yunnan. But now, if everything was a dream, then was Hua Xiqian still alive? It didn't matter if Hua Xiqian was alive, but if he was alive as Jack, that would be terrifying. Let me put it this way. Let me tell you first, there are 3 types of people who will appear in your dreams. The first type is you and your friends, real people who are lured into the dream. The second type is created by the dream creator, illusory and fake, but you think they are real. The third type is the dream creator himself, but dream creators are very powerful. They control the entire dream and won't let you notice anything. In the dream, their identities are also hidden, so you can't tell a glance. If you just said that the person you know died in the dream, if he was created by the dream creator, then he will be fine. If he was lured into the dream like you guys, then he will be completely dead. Because if he died in a dream designed by someone, then he will really be dead. Su Yu's eyes widened. Then my friends are still in a dream. Are you saying that once the dream creator attacks them, they will never wake up? Chapter 44:26. Yes, she'll never wake up. She's completely dead. Master Wu nodded. Su Yu's heart sank once again. Master Wu, how can I tell if what I'm experiencing is reality or a dream? Didn't I tell you before? Ever since the hypnotist drugged you, you've already been in a dream. Actually, if you think about it carefully, there must be a lot of things that are different from your reality. It's just that you were in a dream at that time and didn't know that you were dreaming. Master Wu's words reminded Su Yu of something. Eating roast duck with Huo Min in the underwater palace. Su Yu thought it was ridiculous when he saw the underwater palace. What kind of family background was this? A palace piled up with white crystals? However, at that time, his subjective consciousness had already believed everything in front of him. He didn't think he was dreaming, so he believed it in a daze. Now that he thought about it, there were 2 strange things. First, Mion's due date had passed a long time ago, but she still refused to give birth. Normally, it wouldn't be too late for her to give birth in a few days. However, Mion felt like it had been almost a month, and she still hadn't given birth. Everyone laughed at her and said that she was pregnant with Neza. Now that he thought about it, it was all a dream. Time itself was a lie. When Suyu went to South Hill Manor this morning, he saw Huo Min lying on the bed. His stomach was bulging, and he hadn't given birth yet. However, he had returned to the past, to reality. It wasn't time for the due date yet. The second strange thing was when Su Yu was eating roast duck. Huo Min had kindly prepared a sumptuous meal for Su Yu. Su Yu only ate because he was really hungry. Although Su Yu was usually careless and could eat anything, he was different. However, he was actually a veteran foodie. Over the years, He had eaten special delicacies from all over the country. There were many things that he could tell if they were authentic or not just by smelling them. The roast duck in the capital city was famous. Every time Suyu went to the capital city with his grandfather, he would have a meal there. Therefore, he had done quite a bit of research on roast duck over the years. In his dream, the roast duck only looked good, but when he ate it, it didn't taste that way. At that time, Suyu felt that something was wrong. Logically speaking, even if it didn't taste good, it should at least have a taste. However, when he was eating with Huamin, Suyu felt that no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't taste it. It was like how you usually eat buns in one bite. Regardless of whether it was delicious or not, he would be able to taste it. But the roast duck had no taste. Suyu found it weird, but he couldn't put his finger on it. There were several times when he wanted to say he felt that they were in a dream, but at that time, he didn't. From the looks of it, Linya had two identities. Perhaps she was someone created by the dream creator, or perhaps she was the dream creator himself. She must not be someone who had been lured into a dream, because in the real world, Linya was dead. She was a living dead, and her body was still frozen in Iceland. These were all things that Suyu learned from his secret conversations with Qin Shu in his dream. Qin Shu and Huamin were both highly intelligent people, but once they entered a dream, they couldn't get rid of it. It was as if they were scared half to death every night when they slept and had nightmares. Because no one would be so awesome to know that they were dreaming. This was a terrifying thing in itself. So you thought about it for a long time and finally figured out what was wrong. Then, he grabbed Master Wu's sleeve excitedly. "What are you doing? Stupid donkey, let go of me. Master Wu might not be used to being pulled by a man like this." Chapter 44:27. Master Wu, please help me. Help with what? Didn't you come out? Master Wu quickly finished another cigarette. The small room was already filled with the smell of tobacco. Suyu could not open his eyes. "I did come out, but my friends are still in the dream. I can't ignore them." When Suyu heard that if a person who entered a dream died in the dream, they would die for real, he was shocked. His mood was already in a mess. That also proved that Huamin, Qin Shu, and even Tang Chuan, Old Wei, and their friends were all in danger. And their lives were in danger at all times. "I can't save your friends. I can only solve your mystery, but I can't save you guys because I can't enter the dream. I've never come into contact with the hypnotist who lured you guys into the dream. Also, even if I can enter the dream, I won't. Such a big dream. There have to be at least 4 dream creators in it. Also, they're all very well hidden. You don't even know who they are. If you're accidentally killed by a dream creator, it'll be over." Faced with Suyu's request, Master Wu shook his head frequently. 4 dream creators, so many. Suyu was numb when he heard that there were 4 dream creators. What do you think? Such a big dream. It's impossible for it to be supported by one dream creator. These dream creators are like fish in water. That's their territory, and playing you to death is as easy as playing with an ant. You're really lucky to be able to come out alive. Also, in today's world, there are very few dream creators and hypnotists, and there are very few who can support so many artificial dreams. The person who designed you guys is controlling everything behind the scenes and can make 4 dream creators set you guys up at once. When 4 dream creators appear together, we call it the 4 directions formation in Taoism. It's a kind of evil dream technique. Those who aren't superstitious can also call it deep hypnosis. Anyway, they must have a motive. I'm guessing that you guys have something they want. Your friends might be wiser and hand it over. Maybe they can take pity on them and let them come back alive. Master Wu's words were becoming more and more convincing. So you also thought that the person who did this to them must have a purpose. To be able to set up such a huge trap, he was already an expert. The thing that she wanted must have something to do with Huamin. Because Huamin had been imprisoned for the longest time? What on earth does Mian have that those people want? Suyu lowered his head, confused. Qin Shu knew very little about the red demons, let alone Suyu. Therefore, Suyu did not know the motive of the person who set this trap. But it was true that his friends were in mortal danger. By the way, Master Wu, there's something I don't understand. Speak. Master Wu seemed to have lost his patience. After explaining so much for Suyu, this kid still seemed to be stupid. My friend has 2 children, but they didn't enter the dream and are still alive. Does this mean that dream creators don't work on children? Suyu remembered that the twins were still intact, so he wondered if they were immune to children. Master Wu looked at Suyu with disdain. Dream on. Those dream creators can even drag dogs into their dreams. Do you think they will let children go? Is your head filled with dog shit? Master Wu really felt that this kid in front of him was stupid. Huh? That's not right. Then why are my friend's children fine and not asleep? So you still felt that the matter with Little Bean and Pudding was a little strange. Chapter 44:28. Master Wu glanced at Suyu and said faintly, "It's very simple. They have something to ward off evil spirits. From the moment they entered the dream, they didn't enter, and what you saw was always them in the dream. They belong to the second type of people I mentioned before, created by the dream creators." Suyu was enlightened. It seemed like after returning from Yunnan, when Pudding and Little Bean appeared, it was all an illusion created by the dream creators. The real twins had never entered the dream. Something to ward off evil spirits? Suyu tried his best to recall. Suddenly, he remembered that the twins always had a pair of white jade gourds around their necks. Lu Yin had given them to them when they were born. It was said that they were priceless. Jade itself had the effect of warding off evil spirits. Perhaps Lu Yin had blessed them or something. In that case, it made sense. Master Wu. Why would a dream creator's dream be afraid of amulets and white jade? Suyu turned into a curious baby and asked the questions in his heart. Master Wu replied slowly. How should I put it to you? Let me give you an example. Although dream creators and hypnotists are the top technologies in the current development of technology, they are not superstitious. That is the opinion of ordinary people. In the eyes of Taoists, after creating a dream, letting others enter a dream, and achieving a certain goal, we can call it evil. It's just like when you watch ancient dramas. There are people who practice martial arts. Although their martial arts are strong, they are evil. Good and evil cannot coexist. Evil things must have something to subdue them. Therefore, at this time, whether it's amulets, charms, the Great Compassion Mantra, or white jade, they have become a way to avoid evil things. If you put it that way, I kind of understand. Suyu nodded thoughtfully. But you have a point. You subconsciously force the amulet on yourself in your dream. You don't have a real amulet. Master Wu said, Yes, I asked my mom for the amulet after I came back. Suyu touched the amulet with mixed feelings. So, what really saved you wasn't the amulet. After all, it didn't really exist in the dream. That should be a few lines of scripture that I learned by accident. As my mother is a Buddhist, I often hear her recite the Great Compassion Mantra. Over time, I was also a little affected. Suyu followed Master Wu's train of thought and revealed the secret for himself. Suddenly, he felt that the mystery was getting smaller and smaller, and it was about to dissipate. Master Wu nodded. There's nothing wrong with what you said. The Great Compassion Mantra is indeed one of the most important points, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is you already felt that something was wrong in the dream. Although you didn't figure it out directly, your logic has already started to guide you. It's like a person dreaming and knowing that they're dreaming. Therefore, what really saved you wasn't your amulet or your Great Compassion Mantra, but your self-consciousness. If an ordinary person were to hear this, they would definitely be confused. But Suyu actually understood it instantly. Indeed, in the dream, there were many times when he felt that something was wrong. He felt that something was wrong with Huomin after returning from Yunnan. He felt that something was wrong with Qin Chu's condition. He felt that there was something wrong with eating with Huomin in the underwater palace. Therefore, Suyu was the only one who did not completely believe in the dream. That was why he was sent out with the help of the amulet and the Great Compassion Mantra. It could be considered a narrow escape, but Master Wu, there's still something I don't understand. Speak. The time isn't right. I asked my friend's housekeeper. My friend and his wife came back to sleep last night. Logically speaking, it's only been one night. But in the dream, more than a month has passed. The time is messed up. What's going on? Do we return to reality every day and dream at night? The more Suyu thought about it, the more confused he became. Chapter 44:29. Master Wu shook his head, got up, and got off the brick bed. He looked through the window of the beer house and at the barren hills behind the house. Time is a lie in dreams. After I tell you, you'll be very surprised. Master Wu didn't finish his sentence at once. Instead, he gave Suyu some time to digest it. Perhaps he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to digest it. Suyu patted his chest. Master Wu, tell me. I can take it. After you entered the dream, you only had a long dream. The time in the dream is fake. So the clock, time, and calendar you saw were all dreams. The dream creator confused you, so you felt like a long time had passed. But in reality, it was only one night. I don't quite understand. So you was confused. Let me put it this way. When the hypnotist appeared, it was in the real world. You were drugged by the hypnotist, and then you started to hallucinate and finally entered the dream. In other words, no matter how many dream creators there are, no matter how big the dream is, their time is limited. They only have one night. So you people did it on the night they chose. That is, after everyone fell asleep at night, all of you entered the dream. In the real world, it was only one night, but in the dream, you felt like a long time had passed, more than a month, or even a year, or a lifetime. Hearing this, Suyu was completely dumbfounded. Master Wu meant that they had only slept for one night. That was why Uncle Lee said that Qin Shu and Huomin were fine when they returned at night. However, after they fell asleep, there was no movement. Up until now, everything that happened, no matter how long it had been in the dream, was just one night in reality. That's not right, Master Wu. I'm awake now. It's dawn, but they're all asleep. That's why I said you were lucky. Logically speaking, you shouldn't have woken up. After the dream creator achieved his goal, none of you should have been able to come back alive. I don't think the dream creator would be so kind. Also, you're back, so your time is normal, but the others are still in the dream. Of course, they won't be able to wake up. Also, as I said before, once the dream creator makes a move, none of your friends will be able to come back. So, you can treat your sleeping friends as vegetative people now. Fuck, how can I do that? I have so many friends, and all of them are vegetative people. I'm the only one who's still alive. I can't do that. So you almost curse it out loud. Qin Shu Mian and Tang Chuan, Qin Ning, Wei Liao, Jiang Xiaowei, Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, there were so many people, but he was the only one who came back. If he lost such a large group of friends, then what was the point of him living in this world? Master, what do you want now? I know you're very powerful. Can you help me save my friends? I'm willing to do anything. So you could only place all his hopes on Master Wu. After all, this person's decryption was very reliable. I told you, I can't do anything about this, and I don't have the ability to do anything about it. Do you know how powerful dream creators are in dreams? They can change the scene at will and attack you at will. I can't even deal with one dream creator, and you want me to deal with 4 of them? A player like me might be tortured to death as soon as I enter the dream. Spare me, I haven't lived enough. Master Wu's attitude was very clear. He couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't save him, and his ability was limited. Suyu's eyes turned red. A heart-wrenching despair slowly rose from the bottom of his heart. Chapter 44:30. Kid, stupid donkey, I'm telling you, it's useless even if you cry. I really don't know what to do. I've already said enough. Creating dreams is really rare in our country. The person you've offended must be someone with a strong background. You can't beat him. Master Wu, now that things have come to this, I can't save my friend, so I don't plan to go back. So you said with red eyes. What are you trying to do? Master Wu felt that there was a ball of fire in this kid's eyes that was about to burn. Master Wu thought that this kid had a bad temper and would probably kneel in front of the door and refuse to leave. After all, this was how many melodramatic television dramas played out. Unexpectedly, Suyu said, I'm sticking to you and not leaving. I'll go wherever you go. I'll eat whatever you eat. If you sleep, I'll sleep. Master Wu was speechless. What are you talking about? We're two men, eating and sleeping together in the same room. What does that look like? That's right. If you don't help me, I'll completely ruin your reputation. Think about it. What will the villagers think of you then? Suyu smiled evilly. Master Wu was speechless. Little brat, are you repaying kindness with evil? Sort of. Do you believe that I can use a spell to summon a female ghost to scare you to death? Master Wu threatened. Suyu lay on the bed and crossed his long legs. Up to you. But if you're looking for a female ghost, remember to find one with good looks. I like pretty girls. Master Wu was speechless. Master Wu didn't expect this kid called Suyu to be so shameless. However, he also knew that this kid was definitely loyal. If it were anyone else, they would be extremely lucky to know that they were out. They wouldn't care about the life and death of others. Therefore, Master Wu could basically see through Suyu's personality and character. All right, stop fooling around. Don't talk nonsense with me here. I've revealed enough to you today. Since you've solved the mystery in your heart, you should go back. You're the only child of the family after all. You're the only one in this generation of the Su family, right? Master Wu already knew Suyu's identity. However, even though he was a rich man with a military background, he still didn't receive any special treatment here. Master Wu had a strange personality and never spoiled the rich and powerful. Master Wu, to be honest, when I first came here, I was worried that you were a liar. Now that you've helped me solve so many mysteries, your position in my heart has really soared to the highest level. Be a good person to the end and help Buddha to the end. In the vast sea of people, it's also fate that I can ask you for help. Besides, you also said that none see I and has a good relationship with my mother. Just based on this alone, you can't ignore my matters. Suyu stood up and stopped joking as he spoke to Master Wu seriously. Master Wu also became serious. He reached out his hand and tapped Suyu's head. You're doing well. It's because I'm fated with you. I quite like your personality, and I also know about the relationship between my senior sister and your mother. That's why I can't let you continue fooling around. I'm not fooling around. I just want to save my friends. It's that simple. Really, if I can save my friends, I won't pursue the person who instigated the dream. I just want my friends to come back safely. So you meant what he said. As long as everyone could come back, he wouldn't be able to cause another bloody storm. At this point, safety was a blessing. Chapter 44:31. Master Wu glanced at Suyu and said with a heavy heart, then listen carefully. Your friends are still in the dream. If you want to save them, you have to crack this dream. However, to crack such a big dream, you have to kill the dream creator first. Then kill them. They're bad guys anyway, Suyu replied. If you want to kill them, you have to enter the dream first. Outsiders can't enter the dream easily. Even if it's me, if I want to forcefully enter the dream, it'll take me 3 to 5 months. By then, your friends will probably be dead. You can't, but I can. Didn't I get dragged in before? I just need to go back a second time. Can you teach me how to kill the dream creator? Suyu's confidence was ignited. He felt that there would definitely be a way. Actually, Suyu was never stupid and was very smart. It was just that Qin Shu and Huang Mian's geniuses were too dazzling, so no one noticed Suyu's brilliance. Previously, Qin Shu could see through Layla's flaws, but Suyu could not. This was not a matter of IQ. This was a matter of understanding. Qin Shu had known Huang Min for too many years. They were childhood sweethearts. He knew Huang Min as well as he knew himself. Later on, the two of them got married and shared a bed every day. Therefore, Qin Shu remembered Huang Min's scent very clearly. However, Suyu was different. He had never been intimate with Huang Min. He only understood one aspect of his personality and did not understand everything. From the looks of it, Suyu wasn't just lucky to be able to come out. Master Wood also said that Suyu was aware that he was dreaming. That was why the dream was so weak in front of him. In the end, it collapsed easily and he escaped. Master Wu did not say who was suitable to enter the dream. but Suyu guessed that since outsiders could not enter the dream, in that case, it should be very easy for him, who was familiar with going in. After Suyu finished speaking, Master Wu was a little annoyed by this idea. He picked up a chunghwa and lit it again. However, he didn't say anything for a long time. Master Wu, please say something. I'm so anxious. Suyu, it wasn't easy for you to escape from death. You should be thanking the gods. You actually want to enter the dream a second time? I think you're crazy. Master Wu scolded Suyu for being crazy. I'm not crazy. I just want to save my friends. But there's a price to pay for saving people, Master Wu said solemnly. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm willing to pay any price. Suyu didn't even think about it, as he happily said that he would accept any conditions. Master Wu fell silent again. Suyu was very smart. Seeing Master Wu's expression, he knew that there might be something difficult to say. Master Wu, don't hide it from me. Tell me what you have to say. Really? I have a big heart, and I can take it. Master Wu took a deep puff of his cigarette and blew out a big smoke ring. White rings of smoke rose into the air in the room and gradually disappeared. At this moment, Suyu heard Master Wu say, "Stupid donkey, listen carefully. People who enter the dream a second time can't come back." What do you mean? Perhaps Master Wu's words were too one-sided. He didn't explain much, so Suyu didn't quite understand what he meant. It means that after you enter the dream a second time, there's only one outcome. Firstly, you fail and are tortured to death by the dream creator. You die in the dream. In reality, you die too. Secondly, you succeed. You kill the dream creator and save everyone, but you still won't be able to come back from the dream. Although you're not dead, it's no different from being dead. In other words, I will forever stay in the dream. So you understood now. Chapter 4432. Master Wu nodded 5 seconds later. Suyu smiled brightly. I thought it was a big deal. This is nothing. As long as I save everyone, even if I stay in the dream, it's not bad. At least I can stay young forever in the dream. Ha ha ha. Suyu avoided such a heavy moment with a hearty smile. Master Wu looked at Suyu with a complicated expression. He seemed to be starting to feel sorry for this little donkey. Although they had never met before, he liked this kid for some reason. Suyu, you only have one life. It's not child's play, Master Wu reminded him kindly. Of course I know it's not child's play. Then don't learn from those anti-Japanese dramas. Sacrificing me will bring happiness to millions of people. Let me tell you, although this society is a little cold, it's definitely realistic. Everyone sweeps the snow in front of their own door and doesn't care about others. Even if you don't save your friends, no one will blame you. Morality will kidnap you because you really don't have the ability to save them. Master Wu, I understand what you mean. Actually, I'm not that great. Other than being reluctant to part with my good friends, I have a very simple goal. Master Wu looked at Suyu in confusion. Suyu lowered his head and smiled shyly. There's a girl I've liked for several years. She's also in the dream. My biggest wish in life is for her to be happy and safe, so I must save her. Master Wu had seen countless people over the years, so he was almost certain that Suyu's expression was real. There was no trace of pretense at all. In the end, he seemed to understand why Suyu was so stubborn and insisted on saving people. Ask the world what is love. At this moment, Master Wu thought of something Li Macho often said in The Return of the Condor Heroes. Without waiting for Master Wu to speak, Suyu added with a cheeky smile, "Everything has its vanquisher." Master Wu was speechless. Master Wu, since we're so fated, why don't I acknowledge you as my master? Don't try to curry favor with me. Master Wu rolled his eyes at Suyu. Everyone knew that this kid's motive for suddenly acknowledging a master was obvious. I'm not trying to get close to you. I really admire your ability. Before I came, I thought you were just a scammer. Now that I look at you, you are indeed a little better than a scammer. Haha. What a joke. Is that just a little bit awesome? When I was running around, those scammers were still wearing diapers. Master Wu tilted his head and said narcissistically, "Of course I believe you, but what I'm especially curious about is that you're a Taoist and Nun Xiai. and is a Buddhist. The two of you are actually from the same sect? It's a little messy. I'm not well educated. Don't lie to me. So you had always been puzzled. An old Taoist priest and a nun. They didn't match? Master Wu's face darkened. He pointed at Su Yu and scolded. You stupid donkey, you really don't read much. Haven't you heard of Buddhism and Taoism? Oh. Su Yu pretended to be enlightened, but he obviously couldn't be convinced by Master Wu's words. Seeing that Su Yu didn't believe him, Master Wu waved his hand and said impatiently, All right. To tell you the truth, I was originally a monk and cultivated in a temple with my senior sister. Later on, I couldn't take it anymore and kept eating vegetables. I was dying of cravings, so I returned to the secular world. Master Wu, so you're also a carnivore. Fellow cultivator, come, let's shake hands. Su Yu laughed until he was convulsing. Chapter 44-33. Su Yu felt that Master Wu was especially cute at this moment. It wasn't a sin to love meat. Get lost. Don't talk nonsense with me. Master, please accept Su Yu's bow. Without any warning, Su Yu knelt down on both knees and bowed to Master Wu. This made Master Wu have mixed feelings. He had never taken in any disciple in his life. His parents had passed away early, and he had no wife or children. Therefore, he was not mentally prepared for Su Yu's bow, and he couldn't describe how he felt. Get up, little brat. I'm not your master. I can't teach you anything. I don't need you to teach me anything. To be honest, I just like your free and easy look. Melancholy and deep eyes, a body covered in dust, and that hairstyle that even birds wouldn't dare to land on your head to poop. Su Yu looked up and smiled cheekily again. Master Wu was speechless. You stupid donkey right now. Get out of here. Master Wu was played by this kid again. However, Su Yu had never seen such a slovenly person like Master Wu. He felt like he was a homeless man. His beard was unkempt, and his hair was messy. It was a horrible sight. No. Master, come back to Sea City with me. I'll buy you a big house, a car, and a bunch of wives for you. I'll take you to eat delicacies. When you die of old age, I'll choose a place with good feng shui on the North Mountain for you, with the mountain facing the sea. How about that? Su Yu didn't know that he was so good at flirting. Could it be that Mian was no longer around, so he could release all his power? In the past, no matter what he said, he was rendered speechless by Hua Min. Master Wu didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he looked at Su Yu. Thank you. I still want to live for a few more years, so don't choose a grave for me. But you can take me to eat delicacies. In my city, there's a roast duck restaurant that's especially authentic. Do you want to try it with me? Su Yu began to throw out the temptation of delicious food. As expected, Master Wu's stance was not firm. Roast duck, is it delicious? He asked. Yeah, it's delicious. You want to eat it again? Su Yu tried his best to describe the aroma of the roast duck. Master Wu held his chin reservedly and was conflicted. Taking advantage of Master Wu's hesitation, Su Yu grabbed his arm and pulled him out. Hey, what are you doing? I haven't even said I'm going yet. Why are you forcing me to do something against my will? Although Master Wu kept struggling, his actions betrayed him. Therefore, when Hung saw Su Yu get into the car with Master Wu, he was a little shocked. Brother Su Yu, I want to bring my master back to Sea City. Su Yu said proudly, but this sports car won't fit. Hung looked troubled. You can choose to sit on Master Wu's lap or let Master Wu sit on your lap. Hearing his words, Hung almost knelt down in front of him. In the end, Hung said, Brother Su Yu, you guys go first. I'll call my friends nearby to pick me up. He definitely wouldn't dare to sit on Master Wu's lap. If he let Master Wu sit on his lap, Xiao Hung was afraid that his legs would be crippled by his 150-kilogram body. He waited until Su Yu left in his sports car. Only then did Hung realize that Su Yu had said something very important. He said, My master. Could it be that Brother Su Yu had acknowledged Master Wu as his master? Hung was a little shocked. Didn't they say that there were countless people who wanted to acknowledge Master Wu as their master all these years, but he didn't accept any of them? Chapter 4434. Master Wu had never been in a sports car before, so when he got on the highway, he felt like he was about to fly. It was especially exciting. Sitting in the front passenger seat, he actually started to play a Beijing opera tune in a low voice to express his mood of flying at this moment. Since Suyu was able to pull the expert back, he felt more confident. When they arrived in Sea City, Suyu pulled Master Wu to the restaurant where Suyu used to eat roast duck. After ordering, Master Wu reached out to pull off the roast duck's leg, but Suyu stopped him. "Master, before we eat, I have a question." "Ask." Master Wu drooled as he looked at the roast duck. "How much longer can my friends hold on? How much time do we have left for me to save them? What time is it now?" Master Wu asked Suyu. Suyu looked down at his watch. "It's 1 in the afternoon. Yes, before the sun sets, they will fall into a deep sleep forever or die in their dreams," Master Wu said calmly. However, Suyu jumped up when he heard this. It meant that his friends and Huang Mian had less than 5 hours left. In the northern winter, the sun usually set at 5 o'clock. "Master, let's not eat for now, okay? What's the rush? Let me finish. When my friends come back, I'll treat you to this every day and every year." Suyu felt that time was too rushed, so he didn't have the mood to eat roast duck with Master Wu. Therefore, regardless of whether Master Wu was willing or not, he dragged him out. Master Wu was not to be outdone. Before he left, he hurriedly tore off a roast duck leg. Then, Suyu drove Master Wu to his private mansion. He dragged him all the way into Anne's room. "Master, look at my friend. This kid has been with me for a few years. He's my chauffeur, bodyguard, and assistant. We have a deep relationship, like brothers." Pointing at Anne, who was still sleeping on the bed, Suyu didn't feel good about it. Master Wu looked at him as he chewed on the roast duck. He nodded. "Yes, that's right. This is the state of entering a dream." He entered a dream in real life. So what you saw in the dream is the real him and not a dream creator's creation. "Master, how do I enter the dream a second time?" Suyu mentioned returning to the dream a second time. Master Wu let go of the roast duck leg in his mouth, and his eyes dimmed slightly. To be honest, he didn't want Suyu to enter the dream a second time, because he knew what he had to do, but he also knew that he couldn't change this little idiot. He was too stubborn. Moreover, there was the girl he loved deeply in his dream. "Master, there's not much time left. Now that things have come to this, please don't hold me back. Saving a life is more meritorious than building a 7-storied pagoda. I'm going back this time to save all my friends. It's not difficult to enter the dream, but we have to find the hypnotist who lured you in. I have to go through her to get you back." At this point, Master Wu was no longer in the mood to eat. He threw the remaining roast duck leg into the trash can. Then, he rubbed his oily hand against the corner of his shirt. He really didn't care about trifles. However, Suyu was not in the mood to tease Master Wu. He didn't have much time left, Mian didn't have much time left, and everyone didn't have much time left. Hypnotist. There are only a few hours left. How am I supposed to find her? Suyu was in despair. Where is he supposed to find Zheng Ro in this sea of people? Wasn't this like looking for a needle in a haystack? Don't worry. With so many of you entering the dream at the same time, the hypnotist won't go far in order to help the dream creator control the situation. She should be in this city, and she might not be far from your residence, Master Wu said with certainty. Master Wu's words surprised Suyu. Chapter 4435. Really, is she in this city? Suyu was pleasantly surprised at first, but after thinking it through, his eyes dimmed. That's still hard to find. It's such a big city, even the police can't find her. What are we going to do? She doesn't have a GPS on her. Plus, she must be hiding very well. We won't find her easily. Suyu was almost certain that it was Zheng Ro. This was because there were only 2 newcomers in their group. One was Zheng Ro and the other was Han Yueyao. Suyu liked Han Yueyao more, so he didn't want to suspect her. Especially just now. Master Wu's meaning was obvious. The hypnotist and the dream creator were in cahoots. In order to maintain the dream, they wouldn't go far. Therefore, they wouldn't leave this city. However, on the way back, Suyu took the time to read the report in the company's group chat. He accidentally saw Han Yueyao's schedule. Han Yueyao had already gone overseas to film a martial arts movie 3 days ago. There were a lot of fighting scenes, so she went to a film studio to stay for 2 months. Thus, he was even more certain that Han Yueyao wasn't the hypnotist. Then, only Zheng Ro was left. Zheng Ro's appearance made Suyu uncomfortable. It was as if this woman was very scheming and couldn't be seen through. In the end, Suyu still didn't understand who Zheng Ro was and who she worked for. Now that Master Wu wanted him to find Zheng Ro in such a short time, it was also a problem. Seeing Suyu's melancholy, Master Wu said slowly, "This woman was very close to you guys, right?" "Yeah, she stayed at my house for a while," Suyu told the truth. "She stayed at your house. That's easy. Do you have anything she used?" Suyu thought for a moment, ran to a cabinet on the first floor, and took out a paper bag. Inside were some toiletries from when Zheng Ro was around, and had packed them up and didn't have the time to throw them away. Master Wu flipped through it and pulled out a strand of hair from a towel. "Very good. With it, I can help you find them. You just need to capture them." "That's great, Master. You're too amazing. I really want to kiss you." Seeing that Master Wu had a way to find Zheng Ro, Suyu was overjoyed and hugged Master Wu's neck. However, Master Wu kicked him away. "Brat, don't take advantage of me." In the living room, Master Wu took out 3 incense sticks from his cloth bag. Then he sat down cross-legged and placed Zheng Ro's hair on an incense stick in the middle of the room. Instantly, the smell of burning filled the air. Then, Master Wu took out a compass. The innermost part was written with conviction and conviction. Suyu didn't hear it clearly, but it had been less than 5 minutes. Master Wu stood up and put away the compass. "This woman lives in a courtyard about 5 kilometers northeast of your current residence. It's a bungalow with a large locust tree at the entrance." After getting the detailed information, Suyu made a phone call. Zheng Ro probably didn't expect to be caught, and her location was so accurate. 5 kilometers northeast of Suyu's private villa was a civilian area that hadn't been demolished. Inside, there were a few nail households and a few deserted houses. The people Suyu sent were the elites of the SWAT team. There were people who were mobilized because of the old master. When Zheng Ro was brought to Suyu's villa, especially when she saw Suyu, she was shocked. It was almost as if he was shocked, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. "Suyu, how did you?" Zheng Ro's eyes widened. "You probably didn't expect to see me again, right? Grand hypnotist." Suyu smiled faintly. Chapter 4436. Zheng Ro had never thought that she would be able to see Suyu again. This was because she had been ordered to come into contact with Suyu and be with Suyu, chasing after Suyu. Everyone thought it was true. It was undeniable that Suyu was a good man. Any woman who spent time with him for a long time would be moved. Therefore, Zheng Ro had warned herself countless times not to fall in love with Suyu. This was because her big boss's ultimate goal was to obtain the red demon, and Suyu and the others would all become sacrificial lambs. As for Zheng Ro, her resume was blank, and no one could find any clues. That was because the resume itself was fake. However, Zheng Ro was chosen and trusted by the big boss not because she was beautiful, but because she was too beautiful. It wasn't because Zheng Ro was smart or skilled. In fact, Zheng Ro's martial arts were only superficial. After a while, Zheng Ro calmed down. She looked at Suyu and said faintly, "You actually escaped." "Yeah, I've always been lucky. Otherwise, I would have been killed by you guys. But I'm very curious, Zheng Ro. What grudge do we have? Why do you want to kill us? You hypnotized all of us alone. How can you bear to kill so many people at once? Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning?" Suyu used to think that women like Mo, Shui, Zhao, Qingya, Jian Tong, and Song Yishur were already vicious. However, they only harmed Huamin because of him and Qin Chu. As for Zheng Ro, Suyu knew that Zheng Ro definitely wouldn't do this because she liked him. However, once Zheng Ro attacked, they would indeed be wiped out to kill so many people, and to do it quietly. This was a terrifying, poisonous woman. This was the true heart of a snake and scorpion. Hee, I was just following orders. Zheng Ro chuckled and said casually. Orders? Whose orders are you following? You know, I won't tell you, but you're really capable. You were able to escape and capture me. You must have been taught by an expert, right? Zheng Ro had been living abroad when she was a hypnotist. This was because not many people in the country knew about the hypnotist industry. Therefore, if Suyu didn't have an expert by his side, he wouldn't have been able to escape and capture her. I'll give you a chance. Zheng Ro, help me save my friend, and you'll make up for your mistake. I won't hold you responsible. What a joke. Are you asking me to betray my boss? Zheng Ro sneered. What else? Do you want to die? Suyu pulled out a dagger and pressed it against Zheng Ro's neck. At this moment, Suyu really wanted to kill her. Even if this woman died 100 times, it wouldn't be a pity. But Zheng Ro had a terrifying talent. She is a famous hypnotist in the field of hypnosis, codename Lin. Therefore, many people knew about Lin, the hypnotist, but not Zheng Ro. If it weren't for Master Wu's reminder, Suyu might not have known Zheng Ro's true identity. After Zheng Ro hypnotized everyone, she had been hiding in the dark. Actually, she was conflicted. After all, these people would all die in the end. She could be indifferent when others died, but if Suyu died in his dream, she couldn't bear it. However, she didn't dare to disobey the orders of her boss. Therefore, when Zheng Ro saw Suyu again, she had mixed feelings. On one hand, she was shocked that Suyu had woken up. He wasn't in a dream. On the other hand, Suyu waking up meant that he had escaped the nightmare. This was a good thing for him. Zheng Ro was relieved that Suyu wasn't dead. Chapter 44:37. Master Wu just watched quietly from the side and didn't stop Suyu. Suyu used all his strength to press the tip of the knife against her neck. Therefore, slightly blood seeped out. However, there was no fear in Zheng Ro's eyes. She continued to smile. Suyu, if you want to kill me, hurry up. Don't waste time. I won't tell you anything you want to ask. Zheng Ro, I'm not asking for too much. I just want you to help me save my friends. You have friends and family too. How can you be so cruel? When you were here, we didn't neglect you. People's hearts are made of flesh. Do you really have a heart of stone? Suyu actually wanted to move her. After all, with Zheng Ro's status, even if she was tortured, she probably wouldn't say anything. Unfortunately, everything didn't go so smoothly. Suyu, I really don't have the ability to save them. In the dream, everything is decided by the dream creator. If I enter the dream now, I'll definitely be treated as an outsider and tortured to death. The result will be the same. So I might as well die in your hands. After all, you're the only man I've ever truly liked in my life. With that, Zheng Ro licked Suyu's hand. Suyu immediately pulled the dagger back and threw it on the ground. Then he took out a tissue and wiped his hands. You disgust me. Suyu glared at her and stood up. Master, it's your turn. This woman is stubborn. Suyu knew that Zheng Ro didn't want to tell him or help him into the dream, but Master Wu definitely had a way. As expected, Master Wu slowly stood up. He patted the dust off his body. He walked up to Zheng Ro, the most famous hypnotist on the dark web. Lin, right? Master Wu said. Zheng Ro was slightly stunned when she heard someone call her by her name. Then, she looked at the middle-aged man with messy hair who was dressed in a rustic manner. She was curious and vigilant. Say, you're so young. Of all the things you could do, you chose to be an executioner. My foolish disciple still hopes to move you with the emotional card. That's because he doesn't know about the glorious deeds you've done in the past. At this point, Suyu was startled. Why did it sound like his master knew more than him? Wasn't this the first time Master met Zheng Ro? Zheng Ro remained calm, but the arrogance and smugness in her eyes were gone. As a high-level hypnotist, you've been contacting those perverts on the dark web, helping them hypnotize the targets they want to attack, and then sending them all over the world. Most of the hypnotized targets are beautiful girls between the ages of 16 to 21, and most of them are used as prostitutes and eventually tortured to death. Every year, through your hands, there are at least 80 girls who go missing, if not 100, right? Zheng stared at the man in front of her in disbelief. "Who are you?" she asked Master Wu. Master Wu only chuckled and didn't answer. When Suyu heard this, he felt the blood in his body freeze. "Master, is this all true?" Suyu used to think that Zheng Ro was a little hypocritical and unlikable. She was a little scheming. Now, it seemed that it wasn't just that. She was really a demon who killed without batting an eyelid. She could actually hypnotize those girls and take them away, and she didn't seem to feel guilty at all. It's not just that. What she's done in the past few years is far dirtier than we thought. Otherwise, how did her father get his position? Master Wu sneered. At this moment, Zheng Ro stared into Master Wu's eyes and said in a hollow voice, "Look into my eyes. There's a small path in front of you. It twists and turns, and it leads to the deepest part of the forest." Suyu screamed in his heart. This woman was going to hypnotize his master. Chapter 4438. Before Suyu could tell Master Wu to be careful of Zheng Ro, he felt his vision go dark, and then he entered another scene. Suyu looked down at his surroundings. He was surrounded by green fog. There was only a winding path under his feet. In front of him was a dense forest. "Suyu, I'm here, huh?" A girl's voice came from the depths of the forest. At first, Suyu didn't hear it clearly, but when he listened carefully, he realized that voice was actually Mion's. "Suyu, come find me." "I'm here, huh?" Then, there was another series of laughter. Suyu had always been unable to control his feelings for Huamin. Just listening to her voice made him feel very close. Therefore, he didn't have time to think about anything else. He just followed the path under his feet. Because he was blocked by the fog, he couldn't see clearly, so he could only grope his way forward. Suyu shouted as he walked, "Mion, is that you? Mion, answer me." However, Suyu didn't get any response after shouting for a long time. In a daze, Suyu saw a fleeting figure standing not far ahead. "Mion, is that you?" he asked again, but he still didn't get an answer. Suyu tried to continue forward, but the closer he got, the more he realized that the figure seemed to be holding something in her hand. He felt that something was wrong. That's not right. Mion is pregnant. Shouldn't she be pregnant? That person isn't Mion. No. When Suyu realized that the slender figure wasn't Huamin, suddenly, he heard footsteps. "Suyu, come here, come here. Why aren't you walking?" The voice was still Huamin's, but it sounded distant and close at times. It was extremely strange. Suyu stood where he was, feeling like he had forgotten something. What had he forgotten? As he pondered, he subconsciously reached out to touch his neck. Sure enough, he touched the amulet. Then his mind exploded. This isn't reality. He's being hypnotized. This is an illusion. That person isn't Huamin. This is all part of Zheng Ro's plan. After Suyu muttered to himself, he closed his eyes and began chanting the familiar Great Compassion mantra with the amulet in hand. Sure enough, in an instant, that scene collapsed before his eyes. When Suyu opened his eyes again, he found himself back in the real world. He immediately went to check on Master Wu, afraid that Master Wu would be tricked by Zheng Ro like him. However, Master Wu was calmly sitting on the chair with his legs crossed. Meanwhile, Zheng Ro's head was covered by a white cloth by Master Wu. She looked like a dead person and was terrified. "Master, this is..." Suyu was dumbfounded. "Not bad. You can still remember that you were hypnotized. I thought you were trapped by this woman. Then, Master, why aren't you saving me?" Suyu rolled his eyes at Master Wu. It was obvious that Master Wu was more skilled and didn't fall for it. Instead, Suyu, who was facing Zheng Ro, fell for it. "Save you? How many more times can I save you? This is just an appetizer. This woman only used hypnotism. Once you return to the dream, you won't be facing such a low-level hypnotist. You'll be facing 4 high-level dream creators. Who can save you then?" Master Wu had never spoken to Suyu in such a serious tone. Therefore, Suyu knew that his master was not exaggerating. Chapter 4439. As an entry-level hypnotist, Zheng Ro was already very evil and powerful. If Su Yu returned to the dream, it would be even more dangerous. Master Wu had also said that as an outsider, he was not considered by the dream creator. It would take at least 3 to 5 months for him to enter the dream. There was not enough time. Therefore, it was impossible for him to accompany Su Yu into the dream. Therefore, when Zheng Ro used hypnotism, Master Wu did not stop her. In fact, he also wanted to see how strong Su Yu was. Could he save himself in the face of such a sudden incident? Fortunately, Su Yu was smart and was not trapped by Zheng Ro's hypnotism. This more or less made Master Wu feel more at ease. After Su Yu woke up, Master Wu picked up a white cloth and covered Zheng Ro's head. Because her hands and feet were tied, she couldn't resist. It was obvious that he didn't want to be hypnotized by her eyes. However, when she heard Master Wu say that Su Yu was going back to the dream, Zheng Ro seemed surprised. Su Yu, you're going back to the dream? Zheng Ro's voice was sharp. What does that have to do with you? Now that he knew Zheng Ro's true identity, Su Yu hated her even more. Although Su Yu didn't think he was a kind person, for someone like Zheng Ro who had done many evil things, she was simply a scourge in the world. Su Yu, are you courting death? Do you know that people who enter the dream a second time will never come back? Don't be fooled by this stinky Taoist priest. How much did he charge you? Zheng Ro felt that it was ridiculous for Su Yu to find a swindler somewhere. If he entered the dream a second time, he might be tortured to death. Haha, even if I'm a stinky Taoist priest, I'm still stronger than you. I won't do anything outrageous. Master Wu chuckled. Su Yu looked at Zheng Ro, who was covered by a white cloth, and was very annoyed. Master, let's cut the crap. We found the hypnotist. Send me back. Master Wu knew that Su Yu was referring to the dream. No, Su Yu. If you go back, they'll kill you. Zheng Ro was so anxious that she almost stomped her foot. Although she had done something unfavorable to Su Yu, she couldn't just watch Su Yu go back to die. She must be feeling terrible. She knew very well how many dream creators there were in the dream. She knew very well where those dream creators came from and who they were loyal to. As for the abilities of those dream creators, there was no need to mention them. Any one of them would be able to beat her. Therefore, she felt that Su Yu was crazy to have such perverted dream creators in there, and there were 4 of them. Seeing that Zheng Ro was anxious, Su Yu smiled. Are you referring to those dream creators? Zheng Ro remained silent. She didn't know that Su Yu knew so much, even about dream creators. Zheng Ro, if you want to repent, I'll give you a chance. Tell me, who are the dream creators? Su Yu didn't have much hope when he asked. After all, Zheng Ro had been a bad person for so long, so she definitely wouldn't speak easily. As expected, Zheng Ro didn't say anything. You won't be able to get anything out of her. She probably doesn't dare to say anything. Master Wu guessed. Su Yu, can't you just live well? Why do you have to go back and die? Zheng Ro didn't understand. Su Yu was rich, handsome, and powerful. Was he tired of living? Why did he have to go back to the dream to die? My friends are still here. I can't leave them behind. Ha ha, you can't let go of Huamin, right? Zheng Ro laughed bitterly. She had never envied any woman in her life, but now she was suddenly envious of Huamin. There was actually an idiot like Su Yu who was willing to go through fire for her. Chapter 4440. At the mention of Huamin, Su Yu's expression changed slightly. Actually, he knew in his heart that no matter when, where, or under any circumstances, the name Huamin was destined to be a curse that he would never be able to get rid of. Master, let's not waste time talking to this woman. Let's begin. Su Yu kept looking at his watch. He knew that time was limited, so he didn't want to waste too much time talking to Zheng Ro. In the past, he might have felt a little guilty towards Zheng Ro. But now, Su Yu felt that there was no longer any emotional entanglement between him and Zheng Ro. There was only the fact that good and evil could not coexist. Okay, let's go out first. Master Wu also stood up slightly. However, before he left, he still took out a yellow talisman and stuck it on Zheng Ro's forehead. He knew what Zheng Ro was capable of, so he didn't want her to hypnotize Su Yu's subordinates and escape. Master Wu and Suyu walked out of the secret room one after another. Master, what do I need to prepare for the second dream entry? You and that woman are enough. Master Wu's tone was heavy. So simple. Then hurry up, we don't have much time. Suyu looked at his watch again. However, Master Wu wasn't in a hurry to answer him. Instead, he tugged at Suyu's sleeve, and the two of them went to the balcony on the second floor of the villa. The girl you like is called Huomin? Master Wu didn't know Huomin. He had only heard about it from Zhang Ro. Ah, yes. Although Suyu felt embarrassed, he still nodded and admitted it. Do you think it's worth risking your life for the girl you like? Suyu didn't say anything. Do you think you can face your parents and your grandfather? The Su family has very few people to begin with. Do you have the heart to let them send you off? Indeed, the problem that Master Wu mentioned was something that Suyu didn't dare to face head-on. Suyu was the kind of child who grew up with a golden spoon in his mouth. When he was born, he had everything. With the Su family status in this city, they could get whatever they wanted. Suyu had also lived a life of luxury since he was young. He enjoyed the love of his parents and his grandfather. His life had been so smooth. Therefore, this decision was indeed somewhat selfish. According to China's traditional thinking, one's body, hair, and skin were all given to one's parents. Seeking death was a great unfilial act. However, Suyu also understood that if he didn't go, then he would be a walking corpse for the rest of his life. Therefore, after Master Wu asked this question, Suyu smiled and took out a pack of soft zhonghua. He handed one to Master Wu and took one himself. Master, tell me, what is the purpose of living? Your question is too broad. I don't even know how to answer you. Master Wu smiled as well. Suyu took a puff of his cigarette and continued. Actually, I think that no matter how one lives, one's life has to be meaningful. One can't just be muddle-headed and live in this world for decades. Some people actually die at the age of 30 and are only buried at the age of 70. That kind of death of the soul is actually more terrifying than the death of the body. My good brothers and good friends are like my soul to me. It's because of their existence that a living, flesh and blood Suyu was created. If I gave up on saving them because I was afraid of death this time, then my soul would die as well. The rest of my life would be just dawdling around until I'm 70 or 80 years old. Then, I'll be buried like this for the rest of my life. I know that I've let down my parents and grandfather with this decision, but I believe that compared to death, they don't want to see me live like a walking corpse for the rest of my life. You dumb little donkey. You're really good at talking about grand principles. Master Wu smiled bitterly. He already knew that even 10 cows wouldn't be able to pull back the stubborn Suyu. He was determined to enter the dream a second time and face those almost impossible missions. Chapter 44-41. Hey, Master, I'm actually not that stupid, am I? Besides, I still have my amulet and great compassion mantra. In order not to worry Master Wu, Suyu touched the amulet on his neck. However, Master Wu gave him a profound look. Previously, your amulet and great compassion mantra were useful because you realized that you were dreaming, so you woke up. However, people who enter a dream a second time won't wake up. Therefore, your amulet and great compassion mantra are almost useless this time. Huh, I see. Then what should I do? Why don't I bring an AK-47 and kill all those dream creators? So he was only joking. However, Master Wu couldn't laugh at all. You can't bring anything in. I don't have the ability to let you bring weapons in, because that's a dream created by them. Whatever they say will happen. Whoa, that dream creator is so awesome. It makes me want to be a dream creator too. Suyu was amused. Stop laughing. You probably won't be able to cry later. Master, please. As your disciple, I don't think I've given you any gifts. I know you treat money like dirt, so I won't give you any money. Who said that? Who doesn't love money? I'll take as much as you have. Give it to me. Master Wu glared at Suyu on purpose. Suyu reached out and took out a small golden bag from his pocket. He had found it when he went back to his bedroom. Suyu had a lot of good things in his villa, but he was afraid that Master Wu wouldn't want it. Therefore, he took this. Master, this is a token of my appreciation. Suyu am satisfied to be your disciple in this life. Suyu handed over the yellow bag with both hands. What is it? I don't want diamonds or jewelry. I don't have a wife, so it's useless even if I want it. Master Wu waved his hand, afraid that Suyu would give him some gold, diamonds, agate, or jewelry. None of them. Take a look first. Suyu smiled mysteriously. Master Wu looked at Suyu and then at the yellow bag. Finally, he picked it up and slowly opened it. When he took it out, he realized that it was just a string of prayer beads. However, these were not ordinary Buddhist beads. Almost all of Suyu's things were made by famous masters. They were either bought at an auction or given to him by his friends on his birthday. The Su family was a Buddhist family. Therefore, on Suyu's birthday, his uncle, who was Su Xiaoxiao's grandfather, was there. He got this good thing from the south for him. However, Suyu had never liked wearing them. After all, in this era where culture was rampant, wearing such a large string of Buddha beads would make one look like a nouveau riche. Who would have thought that it would come in handy today? Master Wu was quite knowledgeable and immediately saw through it. This is the Vajra Bodhi, right? Master has good foresight. It's too expensive. I don't want it. This thing is worth at least 3 to 5 million yuan, Master Wu said firmly. Although he was poor and had poor food and accommodation, it didn't mean that he hadn't seen good things. Especially the 4 green beads in the middle of the bracelet, they looked priceless. Master Wu could tell that they were expensive Buddha beads, so he refused to accept them. However, Suyu forcefully put the Buddha beads on Master Wu's hand. Master, take it. Back then, when Sun Wukong became Tang Sanzang's disciple, he even knew to escort him to the Western Paradise to retrieve the scriptures and kill demons. As for me, I can't do anything for you. After I enter the dream this time, I might never have a chance to do anything for you again. Just treat it as a memento. You and I are master and disciple. After all, we are fated. So you put on the Buddha beads for Master Wu. Shut up, stupid donkey. Stop talking. I don't want to hear that. Master Wu's eyes were moist. Chapter 44-42. Although Master Wu was a rough man in the mountains, he was very meticulous. He had lived a carefree and unrestrained life. He didn't expect to have such a deep relationship with this brat whom he had only known for a few days. Actually, it was also fate that Suyu's mother was an old friend of Master Wu's senior sister. None of this was important. What was important was that Master Wu valued this kid's character. It was said that other than life and death, everything else in this world was trivial. However, Suyu knew that he was going to die, but he still wanted to go. There probably weren't many people like him left, right? Yes. Let's not talk about this anymore. Come, Master, take it. This is my gift for acknowledging you as my master. Suyu tried his best to ask Master Wu to accept the priceless Buddha beads so that they wouldn't waste their fate as masters. Seeing Suyu's sincerity, Master Wu didn't continue to be pretentious. He slapped his thigh and touched the Buddha beads. All right, since you've given it to me, I'll accept it shamelessly. But as your master, I'll have to give you something in return. I've been poor for half my life, and I don't have anything valuable on me. All I have is some scrap metal, and you won't be interested in them. How about this? I'll give you a peace rope. With that, Master Wu bent down and took out a red rope that looked like a China knot from his old bag. There was only a red rope and no other decorations. It looked very monotonous. However, since it was Master Wu's red rope, it must be something good. It couldn't be as simple as an ordinary red rope. So he didn't ask further and happily put the red rope on his hand. Then he heard Master Wu say, "This red rope has been consecrated. I personally knitted it. It doesn't have any special effects. It's just a peace rope. In your dream, it might not have any effect. Consider it a blessing from me. Even if you can't come back, I hope you'll be fine in your dream." When Master Wu said this, his heart ached. Unexpectedly, after Suyu put it on happily, he chuckled and then joked, "With this artifact given by Master, I'll definitely be like a fish in water in my dream. By then, I'll probably be drunk every day eating, drinking, playing, and flirting with girls until my waist and legs ache. That's really the life of an immortal. It's better than real life. Master Wu knew that Suyu had said that on purpose because he didn't want to be emotional and make him feel so upset. All right, that's it then. Cut the crap. I'll go and prepare. I'll give you 1 more hour. If you want to meet someone or go somewhere, then hurry up and go. After all, after you enter the dream a second time, you won't be able to come back. Although this sounded ominous and uncomfortable, it was an unchangeable fact. Suyu nodded and instructed his subordinates to prepare some things for Master Wu that he would need later. Then, he drove the Lamborghini 6th Elemental back to the Su family's old mansion. Suyu's Lamborghini had crashed once, and he was too lazy to fix it. He didn't want to buy the same car. However, the old man doted on his grandson. When he heard that the car had broken down, he got someone to customize an identical one overseas for him. Suyu's Lamborghini had mixed feelings as he drove. His car stopped near the old mansion. Yes, he didn't plan to go back and see his mother for the last time. It was just a farewell. He didn't want to make it so sad. Perhaps after seeing her, it would be even harder to part with her. Suyu sat in the car for a while. Then he got out of the car and kowtowed 3 times in the direction of the old mansion. Chapter 44-43. Grandpa, Dad, Mom, I'm unfilial. I'll repay you for raising me in my next life. With that, Suyu kowtowed with tears in his eyes, got into the car, and sped away. At this moment, regarding the company, career, contract, money, savings, he didn't want to explain anything, and he couldn't be bothered to do so. There were still 25 minutes left before his master gave him the time. So he drove for a spin on the way back and thought about everything that had happened recently. He wanted to know the whole story from start to finish. First, many things that happened between him and Han Yueyao were in his dreams, including the death of Lin Heng, Xiao Xiao coming back to hire someone to kill him, and Han Yueyao leaving the entertainment industry to return to her hometown. These all happened in his dreams. In real life, Han Yueyao was still a small character in his company. Although she didn't stand out or become famous, she had already started to play small roles or show her face in some TV series. Second, reality and dreams kept combining, making it hard to tell what happened in the dream and what happened in reality. However, the good news was that the monster, Layla, also appeared in the dream, so there was no monster that drank human blood. Not many people in this city died because of this, including those who were killed by Jingda, or rather, Bella, who became a vegetable. Jixin's wife also became a vegetable in the dream. In the real world, she might be fine, so you didn't have time to verify this. According to Master Wu, his current deduction was correct. Third, Zheng Ro was indeed a hypnotist. As a guide, she led so many people into the dream and into the big picture. The Zheng Ro in the dream, the Zheng meat that Huasiqian said was dead, was made up by the dream creator. It wasn't real, so Zheng Ro didn't die. Fourth, was Huasiqian really dead or was he faking it? He saw him explode in front of him with his own eyes. However, according to Master Wu, if Huasiqian didn't enter the dream and that Huasiqian was made up, then the real Huasiqian might still be alive. However, if Huasiqian also entered the dream and was killed in the dream, then he was really dead. Just like all of them, if they were killed in the dream, they would be dead. He didn't have time to investigate Huasiqian now, because if he wanted to investigate Huasiqian, he had to start with the prison. Gao Ran had already entered the dream, so he had to alert his grandfather. However, his grandfather was still in the capital, so he didn't have that much time for him. Therefore, Suyu decided to keep this matter to himself. When he returned to the dream, he would confirm and analyze it with Qin Shu. Fifth, there were 4 dream creators in the dream, and their identities were all hidden. No one knew who they were. In Master Wu's words, dream creators were the best at disguising themselves. If they disguised themselves as your friend, you wouldn't be able to tell. Therefore, anyone could be suspected, including Qin Shu and Huamin. This was also the biggest problem. Suyu wasn't Sherlock Holmes, so he couldn't verify who was real and who was a dream creator. Sixth, Zheng was used as a catalyst to lure so many people into the dream. It made sense for those who had come into contact with Zheng to successfully enter the dream. But how did those who had never come into contact with Zheng enter the dream? For example, Xiao, Fei, Lu Yin, Professor, Rick, even Ian, Nalo. How did those people get in? Were those people all imaginary? With so many questions on his mind, Suyu drove the car to the private mansion at the appointed time. Then he asked his subordinates to leave and lock the door. Chapter 44-44. Master, how are the preparations? It's almost done. Then, Master Wu looked out the window. The moment the sun sets, we'll start. I'll send you in. After you enter, you'll definitely attract the attention of the 4 dream creators. After all, in their eyes, you're a fish that escaped the net. After you return to the dream world, you'll be hunted down by them. But the good thing is that you can successfully divert their attention so that they can't immediately attack your friends. That's great. Suyu smiled. Stupid donkey, you're being hunted down, yet you can still smile. But it can buy more time for everyone. It means that it's meaningful for me to go back. Sigh, hearing Suyu's words, Master Wu sighed slightly and didn't know what to say. By the way, Master, before entering the dream, there are 2 things I want to know. Suyu thought about the questions in his heart. Ask away. The first question is if Zheng, the woman inside, hypnotized everyone into a dream, you mean that she had to come into contact with everyone to have a chance to drug them into a dream, right? Master Wu nodded. But what if people she hasn't come into contact with also entered the dream? Does that mean those people are all fictional? Or did the dream creators change them? Suyu actually wanted to ask why Qiao Fei, Lu Yin, and the professor, who had nothing to do with Zheng, had all entered the dream. Master Wu explained, let me give you an example. For example, something happened in a village and someone saw it. Then, he slowly spread the news and told everyone. 1 person spread the news, 10 people spread it to 100 people, understand? Oh, Master, you mean that the drug can be spread? Even if Zheng hasn't come into direct contact with some people, as long as they come into contact with her, they will still be affected? Smart. This was the first time Master Wu had praised Suyu because he realized that Suyu's logical thinking was actually very strong. Then, I understand. Lin Fan nodded. It occurred to Suyu that Zheng might have drugged Hua Min the most. Hua Min believed it and treated the dream as reality. Naturally, he would bring Lu Yin and Xiao Fei into the dream. Since Lu Yin and Xiao Fei had the opportunity to meet the professor, it made sense that the professor entered the dream. Master, let me ask the second question. A dream creator can transform into anyone. So after I enter the dream, should I first treat everyone as a suspect before eliminating them one by one? You can think of it that way. But there are so many people. It's not easy to eliminate them. How can I find 4 dream creators in such a short time? This was what Suyu was most worried about. It didn't matter if he sacrificed himself. What he was most afraid of was that even if he sacrificed himself, he wouldn't be able to save everyone. Wouldn't that be a wasted sacrifice? To be honest, there's no shortcut to this. You can only observe it yourself. How should I put it? No matter how powerful a dream creator is, no matter how realistic his creation is, there will still be flaws. You have to observe carefully. Didn't you tell me about the roast duck before? Even in your dream, you could sense that something was wrong. There was something wrong with the smell of the roast duck, which made you lose interest. So, this is actually a method. You have to find out that this person is different from before in some small details. If there's something strange about him, then he must be a dream creator. Master Wu tried his best to explain in detail so that Suyu could understand instantly. Chapter 44-45. Oh my God, it seems like my chances of winning aren't high. This is really difficult. Suyu felt that it was the biggest problem for him to distinguish between the 4 dream creators. You can actually find help. As long as you can tell that it's your friend's real body that entered the dream and find your friend, You can ask your friend to help you find the dream creator. Yes, Master is right. I will definitely find Qin Shu and Huamin first. However, if my friend is imprisoned somewhere, how am I going to get there? Is it as time-consuming as the real world? Suyu frowned slightly and pondered. That's not necessary. I can teach you a way to go wherever you want. Teleportation? Suyu thought of a heaven-defying skill in an online game that he had played before. Yes, you could do whatever you want. Huh, doesn't that mean I'm cheating? Suyu laughed. Don't be too smug, kid. No matter how powerful you are, that's still the territory of the dream creators. Once you enter, you'll attract their attention. Trust me, they'll definitely think of a way to kill you. Then if I'm accidentally killed, will I be done for? Yes, you'll be dead. Fuck no, I haven't saved my friend yet. I can't die. So, Suyu, you better remember what I'm going to say next. This is very important, very important. Master Wu grabbed Suyu's collar and walked to the balcony. Master, please tell me. I'll remember it. Suyu didn't dare to be careless. After all, this was a matter of life and death. Master Wu pointed at the mountains and rivers outside the window and asked Suyu, Look, what are these? Mountains and rivers. Yes, you will see the exact same things in the dream. You will see everything in the real world. That's why I'm especially afraid that once you enter the dream, you won't remember that you're dreaming anymore. It's just like how people dream every night. When they dream of ghosts, they will be afraid. When they dream of being bitten by a dog, they will feel pain. It's precisely because no one knows that they're dreaming that they'll know that they were dreaming last night. That's true. Master, continue. Suyu nodded and looked at Master Wu with admiration. In your dream, you are weak. Dream creators are extremely powerful. They can even deliberately create ferocious beasts, venomous snakes, or high-tech robots that you have never seen before to attack you. As long as you keep telling yourself that you're dreaming, those things will naturally not hurt you. Fuck, they're so powerful. Then I don't have to be afraid of them. So you discovered this bug. Don't celebrate too early. Let me finish. Master, please continue. A person's consciousness is actually very weak. Many people can't remember that they are dreaming at critical moments. If you accept everything that the dream creator imposes on you, you will lose. For example, if the dream creator creates a killer to kill you and stabs the dagger into your body, you will feel pain. Then, you will see your body bleeding and you will feel that your blood will run dry. Then you will really be finished, understand? Yes, I just have to tell myself that I'm dreaming. Even if they shoot me, I won't feel pain and I won't believe them. Then I'll be fine. Yes, you have to stay awake at all times. Don't believe everything that happens in your dreams, especially when the dream creator is hunting you down. Master Wu patted Suyu's shoulder. Master, how do I kill the dream creator? Will my friends return naturally after I kill the 4 dream creators? Suyu asked expectantly. Chapter 44-46. You killing the dream creators is the same as them killing you. It's just like in the real world. The harm they do to you is real, and the harm you do to them is also. Suyu was in a good mood when he heard this. Master, are you saying that I just need to do it normally? Yes, it's not difficult to kill dream creators, because as long as you stay awake at all times and know that you're dreaming, no matter how they create illusions, it's useless to you. The problem now is how to find the dream creators. If you kill the wrong person, it doesn't matter if it's a fictional person, but if it's a real person who entered the dream, it's equivalent to killing the innocent. What's even crueler is that in order to not expose their identity, the dream creators might pretend to be your friends. If you can't tell the difference and kill your friends, I'm afraid you'll feel worse than anyone else. Master Wu didn't want to say this before, because he was afraid that Suyu would feel bad. Sure enough, after he finished speaking, Suyu withered. Suyu suddenly realized the seriousness of this problem. To put it bluntly, what if the dream creators created Tang Chuan, Wei Liao, Gao Ran, Lingling, and the others? How is he going to do it? What if he killed the wrong person and really killed his friends? Wouldn't that be a heinous crime? Hey, that's not right. Master, it doesn't make sense. Suyu's brain reacted quickly and was in a state of high speed. He suddenly felt that something was not quite right. What doesn't make sense? The dream creators definitely can't become Mion and Qin Shu because they're the main characters of the dream. Aren't those artificial dreams meant for the real person to enter the dream? So, the important characters can't be fake, right? You're really smart, kid. I take back the nickname I gave you, Little Donkey. At this moment, Master Wu revealed his admiration for Su Yu. This kid was indeed outstanding. So what I'm saying is we've already eliminated a lot of possibilities. Then, if it's really as you said, he's pretending to be my friend. If it's Old Wei, and he's pretending to be Old Wei, then where's the real Old Wei? Old Wei entered the dream. Wei Liao and Jiang Shaowei didn't pick up the phone. Su Yu knew that the couple must have been tricked as well. If the main body entered the dream, how could the dream creator pretend? Wouldn't there be two Wei Liao in the dream? Master Wu chuckled. Your theory is right, but have you thought about it? Your friend might have been lured into the dream by the dream creator and locked up somewhere. She never showed her face and met you. What if the person you met was always the dream creator? After hearing this, Su Yu was enlightened. Then he felt a chill run down his spine. That was indeed a terrifying method. All right, I understand. Master, you just need to send me back and leave the rest to me. Su Yu looked at the sky outside. The sun was about to set, and he really didn't have much time left. Kid, it's not too late if you go back on your word now. You're not Lei Feng. You don't have to sacrifice yourself for the country and the people. Isn't there an old saying among the people? Every man for himself. Are you really not going to think for yourself? You're not married yet, and you're the only grandson in the Su family. You didn't even leave a descendant for the family. Master Wu seemed to have a deep understanding of the Su family situation. His words seemed to be advising Su Yu to think it through. Once he entered the dream, there was no turning back. Chapter 44-47. Master, I've thought about it. You know my temper. Even 10 cows won't be able to pull me away. I think it's about time. Let's begin. Su Yu was so happy that he was going to die. At this point, he couldn't care less about being afraid or the consequences. He knew that he was the only chance to save everyone. He couldn't let them all die in their dreams, right? If that was the case, Su Yu would rather be dead than dead. Seeing that Master Wu didn't say anything, Su Yu reached out and placed his hand on Master Wu's shoulder. Master, my life in exchange for so many lives of everyone. I even killed 4 dream creators. I profited, haha. Silly boy, what a silly boy. Master Wu sighed slightly and turned to leave. Su Yu followed behind him. Master Wu handed over a white bead the size of a thumbnail. Take this. It's called the will bead. It can condense your will. When you're in your dream, as long as you close your eyes and think about where you want to go, the scene there, or a friend, you can go there immediately. You don't have to take a plane, which is so troublesome. All right, thank you for giving me this divine artifact, Master. Am I completely cheating? Su Yu smiled happily as he held the bead. I don't know if you're cheating or not, but I know you might die this time. Puffed. Master, why are you saying such ominous things? What if your disciple comes back safely? I'll drink a pot of good wine with you. Okay, I'll wait for you. Master Wu looked at Su Yu with a complicated expression. Then, he led him through the living room and finally to the basement of Su Yu's private villa. It was the secret room where Zheng Ro was being held. Zheng Ro's head was covered with a white cloth, which made her look very scary. He was afraid that she would play tricks. Master Wu took out a small blade and bled Zheng Ro's finger. Then, he caught it in a white porcelain bowl. Then, he brought Su Yu back to An's bedroom. You lie beside him. Okay. Su Yu followed Master Wu's instructions and lay beside him. Then, Master Wu took out a blade and connected An's finger to Su Yu's finger. Then, he cut their corresponding thumbs, and their blood flowed out at the same time. At this time, Master Wu mixed Zheng Ro's blood in. Close your eyes and count to 100. All right. So you didn't dare to speak. After hearing Master Wu's words, he closed his eyes and started counting. 1, 2, 3. Master Wu held a handful of incense in his hand. After lighting it, He surrounded Su Yu and in with the incense and mumbled something. Stinking brat. Remember, you're dreaming. Don't ever treat the things in front of you as real. This was the last thing Master Wu told Su Yu. At first, Su Yu could still hear Master Wu mumbling some unknown incantation. Later on, he felt that his surroundings were very clean, and he didn't seem to be in the Su family anymore. Boss, boss. Wake up, wake up. In a daze, Su Yu felt someone shaking his body. Then, he slowly opened his eyes and immediately felt a blinding light. He used his hand to cover his vision. Slowly, he got used to it. When he saw the person beside him, he knew that he was back, and, boss, you suddenly fainted. You scared me to death. I thought you were dead. And was scared out of his wits, and his face was pale. This is... Su Yu opened his eyes and looked around the room. He realized that this was a white crystal room. So he was in an underwater palace? At this moment, in the main hall, a white crystal ball was trembling violently. Messiah's expression was grave. Master, Su Yu is back. What should we do? Hee. This kid must have come back to die. Go, kill him. Linya ordered mercilessly. Chapter 44-48. With Linya's order, Messiah immediately stood up. With a serious expression, she led her men to the room where Su Yu had appeared. On the way, she bumped into Huamin, who was taking a walk with his belly puffed out. Messiah, where are you going? I'm dealing with a death row prisoner. Miss Mian, you should go back to your room. You're pregnant, so it's not appropriate for you to wander around. After Messiah finished speaking, she hurriedly led her men through the long corridor towards the end. Huamin felt that Messiah's expression was a little strange, but he couldn't follow her. After all, no matter where she went, there were people following her, and her movements were extremely restricted. Messiah only brought 6 people with her. She had thought that Su Yu was easy to deal with. After all, in this place, no one could use their abilities. However, this time, she had underestimated Su Yu's abilities in the white crystal room. Su Yu gradually woke up and stood up. First, he touched the amulet around his neck. The white prayer beads his master had given him were also tied to the amulet. It was to remind himself that this was a dream, not reality. There was also the red piece rope his master had given him. The existence of these things made Su Yu realize that he had come from reality to a dream. Master Wu had really existed. And, are you okay? You look terrible. After Su Yu woke up, he touched En's forehead. I'm fine, boss. I just don't know what happened just now. I suddenly felt so uncomfortable that I wanted to die. I even vomited blood. Before Su Yu could say anything, and continued, Boss, did you notice that ever since we came to the North Pole and were captured here, strange things have been happening? I was wondering where you were captured, but now you suddenly fell from the sky. I didn't even see how you got here. With a whoosh, you came back to me. Also, I suddenly vomited blood and almost died. It felt like someone was choking me. I naturally didn't know what was going on, but Su Yu did. Just now, when Xiaoan vomited blood, it was probably because Su Yu had dragged Xiaoan out of bed in the real world and almost killed him. Fortunately, he stopped in time. Otherwise, if he forcefully moved him, he would really die in the dream and in the real world. Su Yu had also had many nightmares in his life. This included bumping into female ghosts, being chased by people, and all kinds of strange things. But this time, it was the scariest nightmare. What's scary is not what you see and what ghosts you see. What was even more frightening was that this nightmare made one unable to differentiate between reality and dream. Everyone was lost here. Even the extremely intelligent Qin, Chu, and Huamin were not spared. Boss, what's wrong with you? Say something. Seeing that the boss was lost in thought, and reached out his hand and waved his finger in front of him. So you came back to his senses. Xiaoan, have you been locked up here ever since you came in? Su Yu asked. He wanted to ask if he could get more clues. No, I almost died. Let me tell you. Fortunately, the professor saved me. Professor? Su Yu frowned slightly. Yeah, he said he's Goddess Lu Yan's biological father. and didn't know much. Where is he? He left. He seems to be respected here. Unlike us, we are prisoners, but he's not. Those strange people wanted to kill me, but the professor saved me. I've been here, guarding goddess Lu Yin. Lu Yin is here, so you finally realize the key. Chapter 44-49. Seeing Su Yu surprise, and nodded. Yeah, I was also very surprised when I saw goddess Lu Yin, but I'm already very satisfied to be able to see her. Besides, I don't know if she'll wake up. It feels weird. With that, and pulled Su Yu's arm and came to the crystal coffin. Su Yu looked at the exquisite woman inside, through the crystal coffin. It was indeed Lu Yin. But at this moment, she was so quiet. Was she dead or... Before Su Yu could finish, and knew what he was going to ask, as expected of a master and servant for so many years. Boss, don't worry. Boss, don't think too much. Goddess Lu Yin isn't dead. She's just in a coma. The professor didn't say much, and it's not convenient for me to ask. Now that we're all captured, I think there must be a conspiracy. I just hope that goddess Lu Yin will be fine and wake up safely. If she wakes up, we'll be saved. I'm afraid her personality will turn this underwater palace upside down. And admired Lu Yin, as if there was nothing Lu Yin couldn't do. Therefore, and hoped that Lu Yin would wake up. Then, he would have another helper. However, what he didn't know was that even the professor couldn't save him, let alone Lu Yin. The only person who could save him was his boss, Su Yu. Master, and if we can get out safely, do you have any wishes? Su Yu patted his shoulder. He was sure that it wasn't a dream creator. This was because it had been with him almost all the time. There was nothing different about him. And in the real world, I had also entered the dream, so this one was definitely the real deal. Su Yu used the elimination method to eliminate the remaining suspects one by one. Then, he filtered out the ones he suspected and killed them. After we get out, I want to eat hot pot, and said, Fuck, you're so useless. I thought you would say that you wanted to start a family and get married. And quickly shook his head. No, my boss isn't married, and neither am I. I want to be single with you for the rest of my life. Don't talk nonsense. How can you compare to me? I can find one any time. I have money and looks. Even if I'm 60 years old, I have plenty of women. But you can't. You're already old. If you wait a few more years, you'll go bald, and your kidneys won't work. How are you going to carry on the family line then? After saying that, Su Yu couldn't help but hug Xiao En's neck and laugh. And Xiao En had already given Su Yu a good beating in his heart, but he could only think about it. After all, he was her boss. How could he really do it? His boss had been overbearing for many years. It was normal for him to offend the tiger occasionally. He would not lower himself to his level. Master, and if you return safely, live a good life. Remember, get married and have children. Live an ordinary life. Being ordinary is a blessing. What do you mean I'll return safely? Aren't we together? And was not stupid. He could tell that something was wrong with Su Yu's tone. Su Yu was just about to answer when he heard noisy footsteps outside the door. Then, both of them became alert. Someone's here. They're not friendly, and said in a low voice. Master, and if there's a conflict later, promise me one thing. Boss, what is it? Hide behind the crystal coffin. I'll deal with them. Fuck, how can I do that? I'm your bodyguard, and couldn't accept Su Yu's order. This is an order. If you dare to disobey, I'll fire you right now. Su Yu looked angry. Boss, are you serious? And gritted his teeth, looking conflicted. Get to the back. I promise I'll be fine. Su Yu ordered him to move back again because he didn't know that he was dreaming. In such a short time, Su Yu didn't have time to explain, so he decided to let him retreat first and deal with these flies himself. Chapter 44-50. And also knew that his boss would never do something he wasn't confident in. Since he had said so, he must be prepared. After some hesitation, and quickly ran behind Lu Yan's crystal coffin and hid. Then, she heard the door being opened with a bang. Two monsters that looked like walking corpses rushed in. The reason why they were called monsters was because these things that looked like humans were almost all expressionless. It was impossible to tell if they were male or female because they were all bald and looked similar. When Huamin first arrived, he also found it terrifying. Later on, he thought that they were biochemical soldiers cloned by Linya, so he was used to it. Messiah was in the middle of this group of monsters. "Go, kill him," Messiah said. Then, 6 biochemical soldiers rushed up and headed straight for Suyu. They were all holding extremely sharp military daggers. The first one to rush up held a dagger and stabbed it at Suyu's head. This was the rhythm of wanting his life. Suyu suddenly remembered what his master had told him. His return to the dream world would definitely attract the attention of the other 4 dream creators. They would think of ways to kill Suyu. Firstly, they didn't want him to cause trouble here and disrupt their plans. Secondly, Suyu knew too much and knew about reality and dreams. If he leaked it to others, it wouldn't be easy to proceed. That was why Master Wu said that as long as Suyu returned, he would definitely be hunted down by the 4 dream creators. As expected, however, because Master Wu had told him in advance, Suyu was already mentally prepared. When he fought with the biochemical soldiers, he used the moves he used when he was a Special Forces soldier. Although he didn't have any weapons, it was still easy for him to deal with these shrimp soldiers and crab generals, and also knew that once his boss got angry, he wasn't someone to be trifled with. Seeing the 6 biochemical soldiers being taken care of by Suyu one by one, Messiah's eyes gradually dimmed. "Come on, I'll play with you, old monster." Although Suyu didn't know Messiah's identity, he could tell from her clothes that she wasn't a soldier. Facing this old woman, Suyu only had 2 guesses. She was either a dream creator or a figment of a dream creator. Messiah took off her white cloak. She threw it on the ground. "You took off your clothes just because you can't beat me. Shameless." Suyu's words almost made him laugh out loud. He was wondering if his boss had to be so funny at such a critical moment. "Are you courting death?" Suyu's words obviously infuriated Messiah. After taking off her cloak, she took out a long whip. It was still the color of a snow-white crystal and the material of a long whip. Every section was covered with spikes made of crystals. They looked very hard. If they were to be whipped on the body, the skin would probably split open. "Boss," Messiah T far behind him. So you didn't say anything. He just looked at Messiah calmly. Suddenly, before he could see how she moved, she appeared behind Suyu in an instant. Then, the crystal whip coiled around Suyu's neck viciously. How was this human speed? In the blink of an eye, she appeared behind Suyu, catching him off guard. Suyu suddenly thought of Layla, that monster. Chinchu had shown him the video before. Layla's speed was heaven-defying. So this woman was also boss, and was so scared that his heart was in his throat, because those white crystal thorns were about to pierce Suyu's throat. Chapter 44:51. To be honest, being attacked in a dream was the same as being attacked in reality. The pain was also obvious, which was why people couldn't tell the difference. Master Wu was afraid that Suyu would forget his original intention and get lost in the dream. That was why she kept reminding Suyu that it was just a dream, just a dream. Suyu had always remembered it, so when the crystal thorns were about to pierce his throat, Suyu closed his eyes quietly. Then he told himself that this was just a dream. At this moment, a miracle happened. Messiah wanted to finish off Suyu in a minute, but she realized that the thorns on the whip couldn't pierce through it all. Impossible. Messiah clearly didn't believe that anyone could resist her powerful whip, and was also dumbfounded. Was his boss wearing a super nano-transparent bulletproof vest? While Messiah was still in a daze, Suyu grabbed her ribs with a backhand grip. Then there was a crack. In the quiet room, one could even hear the sound of bones breaking. Then Messiah screamed, and the whip in her hand fell to the ground. It shattered into pieces. She retreated 3 meters back and leaned against Lu Yan's crystal coffin. At this moment, Suyu struck while the iron was hot. He took a step forward and kicked Messiah to the ground. Then he punched her temple. Every punch was full of strength, and it was fatal. Whether she was a fictional character or a dream creator, Suyu didn't want to leave her alive. In a dream, there was no need for so much mercy and kindness. He just wanted to save his friends. After all, he only had one chance, and had never seen Su Yu so crazy before. He was really scared. After fighting for 3 to 4 minutes, Messiah was completely motionless and went out and stopped Su Yu. "Boss, that's enough. That's enough. She's dead," and said. Only then did Su Yu stop and gasp for breath. Just now, he was on the brink of death. Fortunately, he arrived in time. Su Yu was not afraid of his own death. He was afraid that after he died, no one would be able to save his friends. That was why he was so nervous. "Boss, are you all right?" Shaoan patted Su Yu's back gently. "I'm fine." Su Yu shook his head. "Wow, you were amazing just now. That woman was so powerful, but she didn't even hurt you. Are you wearing some kind of protective film around your neck?" After saying that, and touched Su Yu's neck, unwilling to give up. "That was bare skin, nothing at all." "It can't be. If there's nothing, then just now you and carry Lu Yin on your back. We have to go. We can't stay here and wait for death." Su Yu stood up. "Where are we going?" "Boss, let's go find Mian." Su Yu knew that Mian was also imprisoned here, so he would definitely see her soon, and listened to Su Yu's instructions and opened the crystal coffin. He carried the unconscious Lu Yin out of the room. Then he carried her on his back. Su Yu knew that if he killed this person, his master would not stop. These are just small scenes. The truly powerful ones had yet to appear. Just as they were about to walk out, Shaoan suddenly shouted, "Boss, look!" Su Yu turned around and saw the corpse of the woman who had just died, slowly withering. Then, in a few seconds, it turned into a pool of water. It was dark green and extremely disgusting. "Fuck, what the hell is this?" And was scared out of his wits. Chapter 4452. Su Yu was disgusted. He took a look and recalled what Master Wood said to him in private. A person created by a dream creator would have green blood after death. After a normal person entered a dream and was killed, they would be in a normal corpse state. After a dream creator died, they would turn into red blood. So, this Messiah wasn't a dream creator? At the thought of this, Su Yu was quite depressed. It wasn't easy for him to kill one, but she was just a figment of his imagination. Su Yu felt like he had worked for nothing. Then, Su Yu took advantage of the situation and walked out, and followed closely behind with Lu Yin on his back. "Boss, what's going on? Were these things? Did we come to a monster's lair?" The more Shaoan thought about it, the more he felt that there was something wrong with this place. Hence, his imagination started to run wild. "There's no monster. Don't let your imagination run wild. I'll tell you the details later. Follow me first. Remember, be careful." After Su Yu walked out with him, they passed through all the obstacles. Su Yu didn't know where he got his strength from, but he killed these biochemical soldiers with one punch. It was comparable to fighting monsters in games, and was dazed. Linya naturally felt Messiah's death. Linya, who was standing in the hall, knew that Messiah had been killed by Su Yu. Her eyes glowed red. This Su Yu is pretty capable. Seems like he's been taught a lesson after escaping from here. Linya knew that Su Yu wasn't lucky to be able to enter the dream a second time unscathed after escaping by accident. He must have received guidance from someone. "Squad 7, listen up. Stop Su Yu and his men and kill them all." Linya ordered the biochemical soldiers on the computer page. "Miss Lu Yin is inside too. Should we kill her too?" The leader of the biochemical soldiers asked. Obviously, the person who received the order was still worried. He was afraid that he would kill the wrong person and anger Linya. Unexpectedly, Linya didn't even think about it before saying, "Kill without mercy." As soon as Linya finished speaking, the door to the hall was pushed open. "You're crazy. You even want to kill Xiaoyan." The professor was about to talk to Linya outside the door when he heard her order. He was furious. "Lu Yin isn't my daughter to begin with. Didn't Mian tell you? Lu Yin was born from you and that clone Linya. So half of her genes are cloned. Old Lu." Linya smiled devilishly. Professor Lu looked at her expression and slightly frowned. "Ha. You look like you don't know anything. I guess your daughter didn't tell you the truth. Old Lu, we gave birth to Mian. After I left, the one who stayed by your side was a clone that I created. She looked exactly like me. She stayed by your side to confuse and deceive you. I can't believe you couldn't even tell that she was a clone. You even had a child with her. I'm so sad. Also, you treated that woman's body like a treasure and kept it in a cave in Iceland. How much do you love that monster? Linya kept calling him a monster, as if she was trying to agitate Professor Liu. She made him lose his mind, but the professor didn't fall for it. He calmly glanced at Linya's ferocious face. You're the monster, right? You just want the red demon. You destroyed our home and destroyed the best image of a mother in Yin and Mion's hearts. Linya, you're the most terrifying monster. So what? Linya raised her chin provocatively. Who are you working for? Professor Liu's eyes were sharp. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.